happiness, sweat, a little bit of lust, baby.
It's go time time. It's go, no go, lock and load, love him and leave him, smoke him if you got him, see it when I see it, because it's time for Mark Reardon time.
This is the Mark Reardon Show.
Thank you, George Shea. Always appreciated. Let's get rolling here on a Friday. First and foremost, hello to Sue Thomas as we take you into the weekend. How are you?
Hi, fine. Thank you. Gorgeous.
I know you're enjoying the weather, and I'll circle back to that here in a second. Jane Duker, who makes it just in the nick of time. I mean, by the wire, on the wire, down the wire. How are you?
Disheveled.
Okay. Did you catch traffic or what happened?
Traffic, yeah. And
All
then
right.
somebody was blocking the garage, so I pulled the nutty, which was probably stupid because I could have gotten shot.
What did you do?
I told them to get the F out the way.
Okay, there you go. That's Jane Duker, ladies and gentlemen.
I was
There you
already
go.
late, and I did not need any more nonsense.
I support that. Donna Behringer is here with us this
Seriously.
afternoon.
Woo.
Donna is a state rep, but she's also running for St. Louis City Comptroller, and she's on the ballot next Tuesday. How are you?
I am crazy but good.
Yeah, I know it's been a busy period. And then David Barklage, GOP political strategist. David, how are you?
Great.
All right, so let's just, you guys, relax, settle in here for a second. I'm talking to the panel and the audience because I'll test Sue on this because I know you've probably been busy. Have you seen the fireworks? Did you hear the fireworks?
What are you talking about?
There you go. There's the answer. If somebody else out there is saying, what did you talking about? Listen to this with Zelensky and Trump this morning.
You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you'd take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't
So
want to
this goes on. There's a shouting match that ensues. It goes on for minutes and minutes and minutes. J.D. Vance is there, the vice president.
Have you said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting, have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
This was one of the more, I think, well, there are a lot of uncomfortable moments, but this one kind of stands out to me.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. You will not have war.
Trump didn't like that at all.
We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on
position to
this question.
dictate that.
That's exactly
Remember
what
this.
you're
doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very
you will
good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the
bad
very
position,
beginning
and he
of the
happens
war.
to be right about it.
So they were going to have a joint news conference. That was canceled. Basically, they kicked Zelensky out and said, come back when you're serious about peace. David, I will start with you. We've clearly, just on the surface of all this, never seen anything like this happen in public before, and Trump was glad it did happen in public, I think.
It wasn't a spar. It was a knockout. And a couple of things. One, I agree wholly with his position. We have a president for the first time who has articulated again and again America's first interest on the international scene. And if you see his approach, he's trying to get America repaid. You have Zelensky, which is clearly, it's an emotional situation when your country is under attack and you've lost brothers, sisters, and friends. But Zelensky has made, allegedly, a fortune during this war. And we all know how it's going to end. Eventually, Russia will be able to take that country. But we've been able to stave it off. We've been able to accomplish some objectives of probably, I'm being crass, but getting rid of a lot of old American weapons at the expense of the Soviets and breaking them and their economy. But to the extent it's in the best interest of the world to end this, and Trump is articulating that, he's demanding it, he's negotiating it, I think it's the clearest foreign policy that I've known my entire life, and it is not ambiguous. And Zelensky's, we watched it in our office as it was unfolding. It was
crazy.
Unfortunate.
It was crazy. Jane, I think it's hard to strip the politics out of things, but if you can just for a moment, the R's and the D's, this was one of those moments where you're watching this take place, and if you have some questions about all the money that we send overseas, weapons, cash, whatever it might be, and you got a guy that seemingly is not appreciative of that, and you have two people in the Oval Office saying, hey, maybe we can settle this with diplomacy, and he doesn't want to do that. I don't know where this takes us right now, but I think the majority of the American people, whether you're on the left or the right, will see this and say, gosh, we're pretty happy that America is showing strength here. Do you disagree or agree?
Here is the first thing that upset me a lot was J.D. Vance talking about politics in the Oval Office. So that
Wait, what do you mean by that?
He said it. You campaigned or whatever. That's what they're mad about. They revealed what they were upset about, which that really offended me. It really did offend me.
Well, wait a
at
second.
the
All
core.
right, let's take.
I don't imagine our governor doing that.
Hang on. Let's point. What happened was, and I think this is what you're referring to. So just tell me if it's not. There was a point where the vice president said something about Zelensky coming in the weeks before the election, essentially campaigning for Harris, right? Which is true. It did happen. Why is that inappropriate to bring that up?
It has nothing to do with the conversation, except that it does, because it obviously is bothering them.
Nope.
And
well,
so
why wouldn't it? By the way,
why? You know what? You as a world leader, you're supposed to be above that and supposed to be acting not in your own self-interest and your own political interest.
Actions speak louder than words.
How about Zelensky?
You know what? He's a foreign leader. Look, if you don't want to support democracy, that's on you. I may be in the minority on this.
Oh, my God. You are in the far minority. You don't go into someone's house and attack them, one. Two, you don't, when you're in his position, attack generally. And three, Trump is the only thing saving him from the Soviets stringing him up outside of the capital of Ukraine at some point as a war criminal. The United States is trying to broker a peace deal to save the country.
He took away all bargaining power from this guy who was...
No, he took it away. His words started it.
No, he did not.
Look,
and I have trouble with that.
I don't know that you're in the minority because I think there's a lot of people, even David, I think there's a fair number of Republicans that are going to be angry
we are
going
to pay for this later.
In what way, though? So Zelensky, let's go back to what he said.
If we empower Putin any more than we are now, this is all empowering Putin. That is the problem that I have.
That's the Democrat line the last 4 years under Biden, and that is to basically give away anything and everything just to be.
No one's ever said that.
Let me ask a serious question here. Do you think that the Ukrainians can win this war?
I think
with the
right help. I mean,
and what's the right help? American troops?
We've given them
nuclear
hundreds
weapons?
of millions with weapons. They don't have a chance.
They're running out of soldiers.
Then you know what? If we are not going to help in a productive way on the South, on the side of democracy, then don't say a damn word. Seriously. Then get out of it and say, we're not going to help you anymore. We're done.
The United
have
States
a good life.
of America, the world's largest power, or second largest power any day of the week. We have to speak.
I think they did say no
can't be
today.
silent.
Okay. We're not looking at one thing. And that is, what will Russia get in this? And if it means they're going to have what they've wanted from the beginning, which is they control the ports, that is going to impact
They've lost
the United
a million men, and they've destabilized their government.
I'm talking about our interest.
They're taking a loss.
The United States.
Our interest. Our interest is protecting the Russians from having that kind of power. Right. This is about us.
This is Afghanistan again, where we went in and destabilized Russia through our proxy war in Afghanistan. We've taken this proxy war as far as it's going to go. Very soon, it's going to start shifting the other way no matter what, and we're putting the entire world at risk in World War III.
Well, then you know what?
How do you
then do it.
How do you solve it?
Don't stick your toe in. If you are going to abandon this country and let Russia have it...
You're arguing for World War III?
That's fine.
Come on.
I'm not arguing for war. I'm arguing for if you want to be an isolationist, which is a legitimate policy position.
We want to get paid by getting rare earth minerals that China's trying to choke us off of in a deal that makes us whole, and saves Ukrainian from ultimate collapse.
Why are we dealing with them at all? If we think this is a foregone conclusion, why is the United States still at all playing? Say we're out.
Because we want to get repaid, for one, and two, we don't want to be a world leader.
If you annihilate this country, you're not getting paid.
No. If Russia goes in and ends up winning this war, then it is a problem for all of Europe.
I thought it wasn't an if. I thought you said it was a foregone conclusion.
No, this is a peace deal.
I think it is a foregone conclusion. Look, if anyone could give me a path, I've been asking this for 3 years, honestly. What is the path for Ukrainian victory here? There is none, unless we send troops or we bomb with our, high-powered weapons, or we drop a nuke or something. That's not realistic.
Well, we're almost down to that point. Mark is the only way it's going to stay.
Well, they are cutting bait. That's the isolationist
No, they're not,
position.
because he wants to be in the middle of the deal because he wants to suck up the
it's emotional. So the Democrats can't get past the emotion of Trump and everything.
It bothers me.
It's the same thing on Musk. It's going to this weird denominator of personalizing everything, and that's
no, it's not personalizing.
Why do you
Get
think
out? If you don't want, don't pretend to be in the peace deal. Oh, I'm going to broker peace. It has nothing to do with that.
Jane, I think
it has everything to do with it.
It has everything to do with it. So then, okay, all right, let's walk away. Then what happens? What happens to Poland then?
Exactly.
They're next. They'll take Russia will take over
Exactly.
Poland.
You
So
can't
make the
complain.
deal.
Poland
Make the deal,
is a
Jane.
NATO member, Jane.
Okay, that's fine.
So the reason,
But
by the
that's
way,
gonna be
wait
next.
a second. Let's play this out. The reason we don't just walk away is because we do have allies. But let's face it, if we have a position, I mean, I don't know what you guys want. I really don't. Someone's going to need to put it into words what
I
you
will
think
tell
the
you
path
what-
is
what
to
you
end
Your
this
same
conflict.
logic would say we should walk away from making the police taking the state taking the police over because it's not our problem.
Right. Well, it's not even the same thing, but good try.
Nice try, David.
Good
I
try.
like
That was a good try. That was a good try. However, I think, look, he shouldn't have. If you go on and you say this war is foregone and you're screwed like they did today, there is no negotiating peace anymore. You've taken away the guy's leverage. You've told him he has no chance publicly.
Well, he doesn't
you
have any
basically
chance.
told
I mean,
them
that's
we're
he
not,
knows that.
Well, you know what, though? If they don't think the United States and other countries are going to help them, Russia has. Why are they going to bargain? Who is going to bargain here?
The problem internationally for America is we haven't been saying what has to be said. We haven't been stating our position.
What is
I
our
would argue
position?
that the Gulf War started because there was a lack of definition of the American character, will, and position, which encouraged Saddam to invade in the first place. And to that extent, this kind of clear, I mean, look, Trump could not be clear. We want to get paid for what we've done. We believe that that the end is that Russia will be able to take you unless we do this peace deal. I want to save you, your family, and your country, and this is what we're willing to
But
do.
Putin is
More
not going to
clear.
negotiate.
Take it or leave it.
He's been told by the United States that he has all the cards.
No, he
Why
hasn't.
would he negotiate anything?
Trump said he had the cards, not Putin.
Oh, well, good
Ask
luck.
him
Just
that.
because
Ask
you
Trump
say
that.
you
You
have
think
the
he said-
cards, Putin is the one who's invading, not Trump.
Jane, we've sent $120 billion to Ukraine. Now, that's not all cash, all right? There's weapon systems. I get that people even here in St. Louis benefit from some of that stuff, right? But what is the return on investment for that? Do we keep sending another $120 billion so they can lose the war? That's what we're trying to
If we
achieve
can
for the
send money
end
like
of this.
that,
End
get
it.
recouped, and destabilize Russian and Putin from being able to move anywhere else in the world,
Newsflash,
that's a
we're not
win-win,
getting
and Trump
paid
has
back.
delineated that position. I see it as an
Newsflash, we're
all-win.
not getting paid back. Putin is not going to pay us. Ukraine can't pay us.
The
This is
rare
a-
By the
earth
way,
minerals
and
can.
that's a very good reason to not keep pouring money after a bad
Well, then
war
end
that is not going to have a good finish. We're
What are
coming
we
back.
doing
It's
now?
the Reardon Roundtable. Not quite as hot as the Oval Office, but wow, we're getting close here.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
We look pretty good on the roads this afternoon. Now, there is a stall eastbound 44 on the ramp to Jefferson, and there's already some slow-moving traffic in that area. It's just not helping. The slow-moving traffic is due to road work, but we've got a jam that extends back not quite to Kings Highway. It's more like Grand. And we also have a jam westbound 44 through the depressed section in front of the arch, all due to road work at the 55 split. And that is jamming up traffic westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. If you're headed into Illinois, eastbound 6440, that's more like Jefferson to the Poplar. It's fine on the bridge itself. Westbound 6440 is a slow go. Pockets, but Kings Highway out through McCausland. Some volume out at Spady and at Highway N. 70 looks pretty good out of downtown. And watch for some volume on southbound 55, especially at Revis Barracks, right there in the construction zone. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Just like what happened at the White House, Barklage and I just kicked Jane and Donna out of the room. We'll see if they come back after the break. I think we might let them. Let's talk about having a beautiful and very dependable Generac automatic standby generator in your home at the side of your house, so you can use it to crank up some power when the power lines go down. We have tornadoes, we have ice storms here. We got very lucky a few weeks ago. I keep citing my son in Houston, who has had 2 different occasions in the last couple of years where they've been out of power at their apartment for 4, 5, 6 days, and they had a baby that was born when one of these things happened in the fall. So Generator Supercenter is the #1 Generac generator dealer in the nation, and they're right here in St. Louis. One thing that's different, there's other people out there that try to do generators. All the installations that they do are permitted. They're code compliant. A lot of competitors use aluminum wire to save money. They use copper wire. They're often called for repairs for generators that were illegally, sometimes dangerously installed. So you don't want to go in that direction. They don't sell portables. These are standby generators. Absolutely great quality Generac standby generators from the #1 Generac generator dealer, Generator Superstore. So if you'd like to get into a free estimate, and maybe a payment plan, because you can do this with low financing. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com. And they have a store here in Chesterfield. You can call 314-499-2020.
Ever feel like there aren't enough hours in the day? If you get busy or miss your favorite show, don't worry. With Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app, you can stream your favorite shows on demand. You know your day is better with us. Get the news that matters to you from the local voices you trust. No matter what you're up to, give it a try. To get started, download the free Odyssey app and search for your station. That's AUDACY.
If you're trying to sell a home, there's only one agent in town that I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
Guys, it's time to take charge of your health with my friends at Victory Men's Health. Mark Cox here. I already love what they do at Victory. They do hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, even vitamin deficiencies. Now they're offering specialty cardiovascular testing and even early detection cancer screening. Visit them at one of their 4 great locations, now in Sunset Hills, Town and Country, O'Fallon, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. Go to victorymenshealth.com.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guaranteed details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
And this portion of the show at 3:25 is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air.
Let's show our appreciation for local heroes. Mark Cox here. Nominate a first responder and their department could get lunch from Grill Master Tony's. I'll personally deliver it. Share their story at 971talk.com. Nominate them today.
The battle is on. This is the Reardon Roundtable.
Jane Duker on the panel, State Rep Donna Behringer, who's running for St. Louis City Comptroller, David Barklage, GOP consultant, all on the panel here this afternoon. So there is a headline in our local paper right now that says, Jones says Spencer has gone MAGA. Spencer demands she take it back. This is the final days of the mayoral race, at least round one. And the story says this. I'll just read what the first paragraph is here in the Post. Mayor Tishara Jones' re-election campaign said Thursday that its chief challenger, Alderwoman Kara Spencer, is associating with Trump supporters, citing a pro-Trump message on a website with nearly the same name as Spencer's political action committee. So there's shenanigans going on in politics. This always happens. Jane, explain what happened today, because the Jones campaign decided to kind of mimic a website, didn't they?
Well, yeah, what they did was, Jones campaign, they e-blast a fake website in an attempt to link Kara with Trump. And so the campaign falsely claimed that a site belonged to a political action committee for Kara Spencer, and it didn't.
It's like the website is like one letter off,
yeah,
right?
So Kara Spencer's PAC is A Brighter Future. This PAC, the fake one, is Brighter Future.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's...
But David Barklage, This kind of stuff happens in politics all the time.
No, that crosses the line because when you mislabel something because of transparency laws, that gets you in real trouble.
And it's being done because the person is scared they're going to lose.
Well, of course,
Well, it's
that we know.
desperate and pathetic. And look, it's baked in. I mean, I think people have already probably are pretty. Those who are voting, I think, are probably pretty well decided.
And there's people voting right now, right? So just to be clear,
Absolutely.
like I had some friends that were voting earlier today that I touched base with, and this, you guys know this if you live in the city, and Jane, you live in the city now. Were you able to vote or not? Just because you moved there?
Yes.
You can vote?
No, I voted. I voted before.
But so you have the opportunity to vote for one candidate. For example, in your race, Donna, you could vote for you and Darlene Green at the same time, right?
Yes.
And then the top two will square off in a few weeks. So in this particular case, in the mayor's race, obviously, there seemingly is an opportunity to get rid of the current mayor. Is that the conventional wisdom? Does she have a recognition of this at this point?
I don't
She
know. I
has
mean,
to,
I think
right?
she looks semi-defeated, but I think it's pretty well believed by most that there is no way Tushara's coming in first. I think there is a real.
You think she makes the cut, though? Donna?
I don't know that she makes the cut. And the reason
yeah.
I'll tell you that is because I have been knocking on doors since the first week of January. I've been to every neighborhood meeting across this entire city. And I've been at the polls all day today before I got here. And the one thing people are saying over and over and over and over is time for change. I'm done.
I'm done. People are done.
There is 30 days. And that's a long time in politics.
Mm-hmm.
And
If she
this is the
finishes
same-
in second or
well,
first or
either
second.
way, yeah. And the other thing is that the city voted for Kim Gardner twice, and so that should scare you. And look, I am ready to make an endorsement in the comptroller's race, especially since I've been beat up by these two today. Could I make that endorsement?
Absolutely. You're a victim.
This
Here we go.
MAGA endorsement by this Republican consultant is definitely for Darlene because I could not imagine electing Donna, who is competent, accountable, or transparent in a public service. So that's where I stand.
The Post will do a story on this. She's connected.
Yeah.
Darlene's connected with
to-
MAGA now.
Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting to me. Yes, they did elect Kim twice. However,
It's a different time.
it's a different time, and I also think that as an incumbent, once you lose the voter, you're not getting them back. That's where it's really bad for her. So I do think this March election makes a big difference because if she loses those voters, so she loses them to Kara and Michael Butler. I mean, the stupid approval voting messes all that up. But those people are never going back to Tushara. They will go to Michael or Kara, but they will never go back to her.
Right.
I mean, that is a very major problem for her to overcome.
I don't know Michael, and I hear good things about him. I've never met him before, but does he have a serious campaign that is going to give him the ability of popping into the top two or no?
He will if he makes it in the top
If you
two.
were a bookie.
No, I understand that, but will he?
It's based on odds, right?
Yeah.
So you have the Kara supporters, the Tushara voters, and they will never cross paths. But what you have happening here is they're like, oh, I can vote for more than one.
Mm-hmm.
And both the Tushara and both the Kara voters are going to vote for Michael. That makes Kara and Michael go into April.
Yeah, and that illustrates why this
Approval
is so
voting.
dumb.
Well,
Right there.
I don't like it.
No, approval voting needs to go, and the voting needs to be in August and November.
Yeah, and there's three in
Because
the comptroller race, and I have to turn
I'm
around.
with you, Jane.
29% turnout
That's
electing a
ridiculous.
mayor.
Right.
It's obscene. I mean, it's just another, and this was her deal. This was how Tushara wanted to get herself in. This is how this was done. And I hope the system that got her there gets her out. I really do. That would be just icing on the cake.
And there's three people in the comptroller's race. And so I've asked all my people to only vote for one person and vote for me, please.
Right.
Yeah,
and I've
because-
told everyone vote for everybody but Tushara. So that's
And
you got to
Republicans
the
all
system.
vote for Darlene. She's our MAGA candidate.
Okay, despite your endorsement, Barklage, does Donna Behringer have a chance in this race?
Well,
the odds are against her, aren't they?
Mm-mm.
She says no.
No.
She says no.
No,
she puts the work in. She's got the energy. I'm afraid of her sitting here. So she scares Republicans, so she should be the candidate.
Let's go to state politics here, and we'll get back to some of the national stuff. And if you missed the beginning, we were talking about Zelensky and Trump and J.D. Vance, the shouting match. We'll get back to that a little bit later in the show. But Jane, what is the current status of the bill to have local control of the police department removed once again and go to state control and have a police commission?
Obviously, we're much farther than we've been in any other session. I think we're the odds-on favorite. You never say that.
Did anything happen this week though?
Yeah,
because we kind of had an update
we
last week.
Yeah, we got out of the House, and then that House bill went over to the Senate, got out of Senate committee. So we're just waiting for it to go on the floor, which I suspect will be later next week. And I think
it passes.
And the governor has retold leadership. This is one of the first bills he wants to see. I think Republicans are acting very functional right now, and they're passing bills, and they're acting like a functional.
Jane
Senate.
always says we're functional when we're doing what Jane wants. Just
no,
want
not
that
true.
on
They've
the
actually
record.
passed
I've
other bills
noticed
ahead
that,
of mine.
right?
But no, there's no fighting. There's no filibustering the journal. There's no. You know what I mean? It's like
Did you just say there's no? They're not going to filibuster this in the Senate because I was told
no,
there was a Senate.
filibustering the journal.
Oh, okay, but
which is what Eigel used to do.
Right.
I mean, and the conservative caucus is actually working well with others. They're going to have a kerfuffle about the bear bill, the bear chemical bill, which is that's the only sort of rift I've seen that they've had. But other than that, it's been, so, yeah, we're cautiously.
All right, David Barkley, you're in Jeff City. We'll get to Donna in a second, but your perspective of the session in that particular bill.
No, I think it passes. I think Jane's right. I haven't been a strong supporter of it. In fact, I've opposed it, but I think Jane is dead on. I think it passes. I think I think Jane's correct. They're functional now. But they've been functional by avoiding some of the more controversial issues that will split the conservative caucus and the main Republican caucus.
That's true.
And the
Hopefully
problem
it'll be
is
later.
with session, it all comes back to bite you worse. The longer you delay it, the more power minorities have in the session because time is the enemy of the majority, and it is the ally of the minority. And so to that regard, I fear that all these permanent interests, minority interests, the conservative caucus will come and this session could collapse in early to mid-April.
Donna, any perspective on that? And by the way, I'm so glad that you guys have a spring break coming up because, damn it, you deserve it. You guys work so hard, so I'm glad that's coming up.
I'm out.
She's
Oh,
out.
I'm
She's
sorry.
out.
That's right. I forgot about
state
that.
rep, so
Well, I'm
no,
glad that the
I won't
legislature
have a spring
does.
break.
I did kind of forget that you were running for this after you had gotten out. But your sense of where they are right now, when you're talking about some of this falling apart with Republicans, where would that happen?
Well, I mean, it could, for example, the bear bill,
Explain what that's about.
It's about shielding Bayer.
Monsanto, former Monsanto.
Yes, from some lawsuits for
Some of the chemicals.
Phosphates, for some chemicals. And there are some people who are really angry about that. There's some Democrats. I mean, they're worried. I mean, look at what's happening in North County. I mean, you have all of that waste up there that's hurting and killing people. And it's like, are we going to start shielding people? I see both sides of it. So, I mean, that's not an easy topic. Taxation, education, those are biggies that there's going to be, like you said, some pretty stark differences.
Well, what happens? Okay, let's talk about the big issue here because obviously there's going to be changes to Medicaid. What's going to happen with that? Because a good portion of the budget, what is it, like 45% of the budget is to Medicaid, isn't it?
No, well, I mean the general revenue budget is basically made up of prisons, Medicaid, but K through 12 is the big general.
But are
revenue.
we going to have a hole
And we're
with
not-
Medicaid funding? That's the way this is being kind of spun
Well,
right
we're not,
now.
and we're not funding the formula. So. Fully, and they want to redo the formula. So those are big, very big ticket items.
Mark, government has gotten so big on the federal level and on the state level. I think we're finding with DOGE more than anything that it's just so expansive, it's hard for anybody to control it. And no one really wanted to talk about it. I think right now to try to judge where we're going to come down the budget because there's so many working parts is impossible. And it's just speculative. And unfortunately, that doesn't answer your question, but I think it's anybody's game.
Look, I've followed the legislature for a fair amount of decades, and I understand that the second week of May, we still don't have stuff that's decided, and then all of a sudden there's a flurry.
And that was when it was more stable, and it seemed to be,
You and I worked the last time there were severe budget deficits. Okay, so we've had
early 2000s.
Yeah, we've had a good 20-year span of cash. And the people who are in charge do not remember when us old folks had huge budget deficits and things.
And the federal government's deficit is so immense. At some point, they are going to cut as they are. But my point is that so much of our budget and so much of local budgets for infrastructure and everything else is apportioned federal money. And so how that ends up coming downstream, it may be a year or 3 years before we really feel it. but it's going to be dramatic. It will reshift priorities for every municipality, every county government, because think about it. We've been building infrastructure for 50 years, and now we have to maintain it, and we built it with 90%, 80% participation of the federal government, and now all of a sudden to replace it, we're getting 50% or none. It is going to be a challenge at every level of government.
And it does bring in, like, when you bring that down to local, the Board of Aldermen's talking about setting up child care programs. By the way, the state is doing a very big program on child care. I don't know why the city would ever think they have to try to duplicate that. And everybody's saying, wait a minute, we got roads, people's minds are shifting, saying, guys, we better get back down to the basics.
But fair question here, going back to the mayor's race, because, and I like Kara, okay, but she's a progressive. So do you think that those priorities will shift if there's a new mayor?
I think they're going to have to.
Yes.
I think she's not going to have a choice.
Let me address that, because look at the ARPA funds. We sat on $500 million for the last 4 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now we know for sure there's at least $300 million just sitting. It's sitting over at SLDC. It's not spent. It's just committed. If you don't think that Washington, D.C. isn't going to say, well, if you can't spend $300 million in 4 years,
taking it back. They should.
And
they should take it.
Well, no. That's why, as the comptroller plays a role in that, and they should be pushing to get that money paid for. So any of the programs that go out, they're supposed to reimburse for those programs.
See that's the only thing I'm glad that St. Louis did is not learn how to spend money so it goes back.
But no,
they can't even do that.
Well, if we put it in concrete, if we put it in trees, if we put it in lights, if we put it in things that Washington, D.C. cannot come back and rip out of our hands, then we're okay. So this is a crisis, and I want to be part of the triage. But at the end of the day, I am nervous for the city of St. Louis losing at least $300 million.
God, I want to turn on my music and have the national anthem playing when she's speaking.
Amen,
it's so appropriate.
It's Donna Behringer, former state rep. She's running for comptroller. David Bartlett, GOP consultant. And Jane is with us this afternoon as well. One more local issue before we move on, and we'll take a break. But I wasn't too pleased. Maybe it's just me, but not too pleased with the Secretary of State because he's delaying the start on legalized sports wagering in Missouri. It barely passed in the fall, but it did pass. And there's this emergency rule situation that, I understand it's not necessarily an emergency for me to place bets, but it just seems obstructionist from the guy that blocked this in the Senate the whole time. Donna Behringer.
Yes, I want to talk on that because I was in the legislature when that happened. And our new Secretary of State blocked every year trying to get the sports betting by itself because he was with the VLTs.
That's right.
Video lottery terminals. And
the
those
so-called gray machines.
Right, which are in all the gas stations, especially in low-income areas. And the legislature didn't want those tied together. They wanted them separated. So this is his way of saying, I didn't get my way, so I sure as heck don't want to let this go any quicker than it does because he wants VLTs to pass. He doesn't like the sports
betting
by
But he has no
itself.
control over that. So
no,
that's
he
why
doesn't.
this is a stupid move.
Right, but it is showing, you're
not a senator anymore. You moved on.
Look,
You're Secretary of State.
Here's what became very apparent to me. And
he wants to
I think I kind of knew this anyway. There's seemingly in the state of Missouri is only one requirement to be Secretary of State, and that's to be a complete dipwad. I'm telling you. Jay Ashcroft, Denny Hoskins, congratulations. Everyone else I'm fine with, but good Lord, can't we do better than that?
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
We've got a jam on westbound 44 approaching 270. It's all due to an incident there that is blocking the left lane. Now, it's road work that's causing a delay eastbound 44 headed into downtown, and that starts near Grand. And we've already got a jam on westbound 44 in front of the Arch grounds. That's because of road work blocking a lane on westbound 44 at the 55 split, and that's jamming up traffic back onto the Poplar Street Bridge for westbound drivers. Eastbound lines up near Jefferson, but then it's fine on the bridge itself. Southbound Route 3 is really heavy and slow coming off the bridge. A slow-moving train at Monsanto to blame. And westbound 70 out of downtown, really not bad. 64, that's a lineup. It's approaching Kings Highway out past McCausland. And out to the west, just some moderate volume at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Southbound 270, moderate volume from Page down through Doherty Ferry in pockets. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Choose Syntec Full Synthetic Motor Oil, formulated for today's engines only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic or a MicroGuard Select filter for just $32.99 in-store only. Limits apply. Learn more at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This would be a great weekend to have a little fun and experiment with Underdog Fantasy. And I'm going to guide you in here. I want you to use the promo code MARKR, but I have great news to start with. Underdog Fantasy is available to play in Missouri right now. And we've moved on from football, so we have NBA, we have college basketball, the NHL. By the way, you can put champions picks together. This is very easy. You create entries with one sport, or you can mix and match. So you can do a couple of NBA selections, college hoops, mix with the Blues or NHL. You can play as little as $1. And if you get everything right in a little pick that you make, you win up to 1,000 times your money. So it really is a lot of fun. And they're going to give you a little bonus cash here. When you sign up, you download the app, you use the promo code MARKR, M-A-R-K-R, to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. So join in on the fun. Get signed up. You'll get a username, your email address, a password, and then use that promo code MARKR and get that special offer. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Hey, it's Annie with my friend Stewie, and you know Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan gets you your mortgage or your refinance at no closing costs. And I have Stewie with me right now. You're all about saving people money. Fiscal responsibility is really in right now, and you've got something up your sleeve for these folks.
You know what, Annie? Some people like to get better cash flow. Other people just want to pay off all their debt. So we're going to do something very, very unique. In Scotland, it was traditional to paint the door red once you paid off your mortgage. So we're going to give you the Red Bagel Challenge. If you refinance with us and you consolidate your debt and you get your mortgage paid off in half the period of time remaining, we're going to give you a $1,000 bonus at the end of that term.
Well, Stewie's all about helping you build your wealth and build equity, and the Bagel Loan is another way to do it. Remember, no closing costs with the Bagel Loan. Reach out to Stewie directly with 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. You can Google Bagel Loan for more information, NMLS number 226715.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Monday, a judge has stepped in again to try to stop President Trump from downsizing government. We'll talk to Hans von Spakovsky at 6:20.
The Mark Cox Morning Show. Weekdays from 5 to 9. Right here on 97.1 FM Talk. You're listening to the Reardon Roundtable on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, we have a Sue's News for a Friday edition coming up at the start of the hour after Fox News. I'm sorry, I was thrown off there because my bumper music was not what I had expected, so I got all discombobulated there. But, well, Sue's News. We also have Paul Hall on entertainment in the next hour, and then Cusumano will talk a little sports as well. Right now, it's a Reardon Roundtable with David Barklage, GOP consultant, former State Rep Donna Behringer, and our friend Jane Duker, who's going to hang in the next hour, is here. Jane, I'll start with you. Why is there so much resistance to Doge and Elon Musk and you guys calling him President Musk and all this other stuff? Why are you now? This is, in fairness, and I've said this, I don't think it's the same Democrats. I think it's the AOC, right, the wing of your party. We got a wing in our party too, but they seem apoplectic about this, and I don't think it's working.
I'm kind of in the Carville camp here, which is shut up and let them do their deal. Win, and if they screw it up, then you go in. This idea.
Yeah, but he thinks they're screwing it up right now. Carville's just saying,
they
let
are,
them.
because look, you know,
I think it's
wait
glorious.
for consequences to happen. This idea, like if you cry wolf, and these horrible consequences don't happen, you look like fools.
Yes.
So
I would agree.
Wait until somebody does something that actually has an effect, and then you comment on it. I think this is a very bad ploy by my party to do this because you can't win. I mean, you either educate them and they stop doing the thing that will actually cause harm, and then you've defeated the purpose, or you look like you cry wolf and people just tune you out because, you know, you're just screeching. So I feel like there's a lot of screeching, and the screeching gets you nowhere. It gets you nothing. That's my opinion.
Barklage, you agree with that? I think there is a lot of screeching. I'm just surprised at how amplified it is now. The legacy
there
media
should be
is
more
playing
money
along
for
here.
everybody then.
Look, I always believe in smart political strategy is to create a distraction, and Elon is the distraction of all distractions, and the Democrats are going after him.
They're biting.
They're the whole. It's a talking point. Let's make Trump jealous of this guy, and the fact is that Trump is using a page out of their playbook for for 4 years during the Biden administration did everything they could to circumvent the courts, Congress, and anybody else to get their will done. And now the Trump administration has figured it out. We can hire this guy under certain terms and have him go out and do these things, and they're going to attack him, and they're missing the point. They are hitting something that Americans understand very clearly, and they're highlighting it because they're making it controversial. You couldn't ask for a better situation than Trump administration.
I mean, I agree. And here's the thing. I mean, there are going to be consequences. And, and when those happen, you've lost your ability to crab about it. This is what I don't understand. You're not talking about the issues that should be important to our party, the working people.
What are those, by the way? I mean, honestly,
you know
I
what?
think people have that question.
I have my own idea of what they should be. I think it's always jobs, healthcare, things that matter to people on an everyday life. We have not spoken to those people in a while. We're not talking about getting better jobs, getting better pay. Making people feel like, that they're not getting squeezed by the rich and the poor. We've seemed to have only cared about criminals, cop haters, protesters, Palestinians.
You're doing my job here, Jane, today. I don't really need to say much
these
more
are
than
not
that.
topics that resonate with people, and they have not gotten the memo.
Well, look, there's going to be, let's just talk about this. And Senator Schmitt's going to join me a little bit later on the show for reaction with what happened today in the Oval Office and also the Senate and the House and spending. But they're going to pass a bill on, biological women not competing against biological men in sports. And that's a overwhelmingly popular issue with the American people.
80% issue.
But there's Democrats who will vote against that,
Absolutely.
probably in lockstep.
Probably most of them.
Right. Why?
And
Why would they do that?
I don't know. And I'm like, I think any amount of money that can be saved the taxpayer, don't get hit by the train. Get on the train.
Jane, I think the answer is that they're not really Democrats. Just like some of the things that have come up
I agree.
are not really Republicans. I could pattern those people when I was a Reagan Republican, were yellow dog Democrats in the middle of rural Missouri, had never gotten out of their community, and I don't know what they are, but they're not Republicans, just as I think people in the Democrat Party who it's an affront to women's rights and what women have been able to accomplish. When they take this position, they're not Democrats.
No, I mean the idea that these, we have fought so long and hard to have someone like Caitlin Clark, where people are inspired by women's sports. We had the women's soccer team. We have Caitlin Clark. We are having these bright, shiny moments.
I agree.
And they want to pull the rug out.
That is so good because, think about how many men, how many people you've known or any of us known that men in sports that were, great, Stan Musial, whatever, inspired them to greatness. And women only in the last few decades have had that opportunity to really find those kind of inspirations.
Title IX is working, and you are dismantling
it was within all of our lifetimes here in this room when women couldn't even participate in the Boston Marathon. And that is stunning to me.
Right.
That the first women had to cheat and, jump the line and just do it anyway.
Right.
So that was 50 years ago. That wasn't that long ago.
Right.
And we've made all this progress. And now this is the hill that some Democrats want to die on.
But you're right.
Makes
I
no sense.
call them not Democrats. I do. I call them radical leftists. And,
The elements of sports, the competition, winners, losers,
fairness.
all the things, fairness, all those things are elements that build a character for people to be able to embrace and say, I want to grow up and be like that person. And to steal that away from every young woman in America is obscene. It's not Democrat, it's not Republican.
My whole high school life, my whole middle school, my whole high school, my whole college, so that some guy can beat me and I don't make it to the Olympics, or, you know what I mean? Like the idea that the NCAA let these men ruin women's careers.
And they told those young women to just shut up because it was about a bigger moment. That's how they sold that.
A bigger
with Will
moment
Thomas and
for
others.
1/100 of 1% of the population.
Unbelievable. Hey, how about this? Now, Jane, you are aware, and I put Don in this category too, but you guys can challenge me. We talked about the cognitive decline of the president on this show long before the national media was talking about it. So do you find it ironic and hypocritical that Jake Tapper, a guy who until early fall was in complete denial about the president's mental state, co-authored a book with a guy by the name of Alex Thompson about the cognitive decline of President Trump? Now, I've defended Alex Thompson, Axios guy, because he actually was reporting on this. He was one of the few guys that was.
Consistent.
He's got street cred here. But for Jake Tapper, and I get it because he's a bigger name than Alex Thompson, that's stunning to me that that's the guy.
It's bandwagoning,
wow.
And it's like, whatever. I mean, look, I don't think the book is going to sell. I think we've moved on, I would hope. but
Look,
apparently not.
The guy wouldn't report it, and now he's making money off of a book. That tells more about his character.
I agree.
And the character of the modern
and it
media.
just it undermines the media. So
Well,
keep going, fellas.
This isn't the only elected official that we have concerns on cognitive ability, so maybe we should have a hotline.
I mean, so are we going to write books? I mean, I just think that's all.
I just think that this is really one of the biggest media stories in history. It really is. That you had an entire press corps in Washington and beyond that was not even willing to touch that story, even when it happened, by the way. Even when he was confused in France, walking around, even after the first debate, there was denial by KJP, by others. I mean, I want to read the book just because I want to see if anyone's honest about all this stuff.
And we're in a country where when Gerald Ford would fall, that they questioned whether he should be president because he was clumsy. Ronald Reagan, whether that, after he got shot, that he was no longer fit to lead. He was losing things.
I mean, he did.
And there's no connection. I mean, there is no comparing his cognitive decline and Biden's, yet he was completely scrutinized. They challenged George W. Bush's intelligence. I mean, this is a media that has had
There's
a
no
double
effort
standard
to call
generationally.
Absolutely. It's really, really amazing. And I don't think they're learning from any of these lessons. Now, we have lost a few this week. Joy Reid, rest in peace. She's no longer going to be on MSNBC. Lester Holt off of NBC Nightly News. Some of this is salary related. These are people making a lot of money. The ratings are not dictating that anymore. So the media culture is certainly changing. Now, who replaces those people, we'll have to wait and see. And then, the question becomes how many American people are watching. The ratings came out this week, and you could see some of the cable outlets versus one another. Fox just crushes them. It's unreal how big the audience is on Fox compared to CNN in particular.
But, I think that people are tired. Someone asked me the other day, they meant this so sincerely. They called and said, David, where do I watch the news that's just fair? Where can I just get the facts?
It takes work.
And I had to think about it. Because
Well, the
it's
first
like,
answer
oh my God,
should be
it's hard to...
the Mark Reardon Show. You know that. But outside of that,
that
yes.
was intuitive.
Jane Duker's Twitter feed.
Well,
Oh, God.
but I mean, it's true.
It
It's
is.
that everything is no longer news. It is opinion. And I don't even understand why we don't require the journalism schools to maybe go back and say, hey, you should actually just report news. But no one wants to report news. They want to give
Well,
their
you know what,
opinion.
though? You can blame the media. But you know what? It would be nice if we had humans that were critical thinkers and says, gee, I can tell the difference between an opinion and facts. And I'm going to reject opinions, and I'm going to go with facts.
You know what, Jane? Honestly, to the person, you and I are more sophisticated consumers, and Mark, we are. But to the person who's working all day and comes home and just watches 30 minutes of news,
Right.
try to find out what's going on, so they feel they're connected to the community. It's impossible.
Democracy is
It
not
really
easy.
is.
Democracy is not easy, and you got to work for it. And I hate to say that.
I'm
but
with you,
do.
Jane. I wish more people, but to David's point, look, everybody listening right now, they're informed voters. These are people who care, they pay attention, but we all have people in our world, whether it's a brother, sister, mom, dad, or friends, neighbors, that they, for whatever reason, maybe they're exhausted by the news cycle. I'm not criticizing. I get it. People are busy. All I do is blab on the radio, but it becomes a problem because that's how conspiracy theories grow, et cetera. All right, Donna Behringer, good luck at the polls.
Thank you, Mark.
We'll see if you're the next comptroller, but you still might have a runoff. So we're
No,
at
I will
least-
have a runoff,
Yeah,
so
right. I
April
mean, very,
8th.
very little doubt that you're going to still be in this race.
And you're
until the end of the
going to
month.
be pounding along for the next month.
That's right.
Jane's going to hang out in the next hour. Barclay, good to see you. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. We got Sue's News in the next hour here on 97.1 FM Talk. Paul Hall on Entertainment, Cusumano to weigh in on some sports, and then Senator Schmitt after the top of the hour.
If you missed anything, podcast The Mark Reardon Show at 971talk.com. Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, we've got a typical Friday afternoon, and that means traffic is jammed. If you are westbound on 44 downtown, it's really heavy and slow in front of the Arch grounds, all due to road work at the 55 split. Eastbound 44 is jamming at 55 as well, and all of this is jamming traffic back onto the Poplar Street Bridge. westbound. Now, westbound 6440 is slow go, Kings Highway out through McCausland. We've got an accident on eastbound 44 approaching 270. It's been blocking the left lane, and there's a parking lot jam behind that. 55 is slowing at Revis Barracks. Southbound 170, pretty slow, and that's from Olive down through 64. Now, westbound 70, a little bit slow headed for Jennings Station Road. Moderate volume past the airport. And 40 slows again westbound at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, let me give you a little insight into a great resource that we use here at 97.1 FM Talk, and that's the Show Me Institute. It's a think tank that is here in St. Louis, and they are really focused and based on free market principles. And, you know, that's certainly a philosophy that we share here at 97.1 FM Talk. And also, personally, I think it's certainly something I can say. The Show Me Institute really focuses on a lot of different issues like educational choice, school choice for families, some legislative bills on that right now. You can always go to their website, which is showmeinstitute.org, and cross-reference some of the issues that are out there, whether it's lower taxes for all Missourians, maybe even getting rid of the income tax in Missouri, the state income tax, making a level field for business owners, entrepreneurs, where government's not picking the winners and losers, so really not doing all these TIF things on a regular basis. And then the Show Me Institute is really good at holding government accountable through transparency, something the media used to do, but that doesn't happen as much. So if you want to find out more about the Show Me Institute, it's easy. Go to the website, showmeinstitute.org. That's showmeinstitute.org.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're fighting against childhood cancer every day. At the heart of this battle are our donors.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here, and it doesn't matter your religion or what part of the world you're from. All that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Find out how you can help at stjude.org.
Hey, we got Paul Hall coming up after Sue's News. We'll talk some movies and entertainment this afternoon, a couple of films in the theaters, and a Netflix movie with Kate Hudson called Running Point. That and a whole lot more. Cusumano at 4:45 to talk hockey and college hoops.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
There's still a chance. On Lisa Brady, Fox News. That view from the State Department after an Oval Office meeting that took an unexpected turn.
President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky grew frustrated with each other during an Oval Office meeting intended to secure a rare earth minerals deal and discussions on ending the war with Russia.
With us, you start having
not playing cards.
Right now, you don't.
You're
playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III.
Vice President J.D. Vance accused Zelensky of being disrespectful.
You should be thanking the president for trying to bring it into this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine? Did you say what problems we have?
Zelensky is seeking security guarantees as part of any agreement with Russia to end its invasion.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House, where Ukraine's president later left without signing that minerals deal with the U.S. President Trump later posting Zelensky is not yet ready for peace. President Zelensky in his own post offering thanks and reaffirming his country's push for a lasting peace. State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce telling Fox Business Zelensky has a chance to turn things around.
A number of choices he's going to have to make, and clearly he's got a big problem in his country.
She says this does not mean a minerals deal can't be done. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy posting a video calling today's meeting an ambush.
It was a planned ambush designed to embarrass President Zelensky in order to benefit Vladimir Putin.
The Connecticut senator accusing President Trump of becoming a lapdog for the Russian president. But South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham tells Fox News,
Ukraine's an important ally. They've fought like tigers. I don't want Putin to win. I want to help Ukraine. But it's hard to help people who seemed unable to realize the moment they're in.
Graham says he's proud of President Trump for standing up for America. America is listening to Fox News.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC now recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out. Oh, Downy in the rinse straight. Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Plenty of sunshine and springtime on this Friday afternoon. Windy and warm, 70 for the high, 10 short of the record, which is 80. Tonight, a dry cold front passes by. We turn colder, mostly clear, 32. First weekend of March, Saturday, sunny, breezy, and chilly, 44. 27 Saturday night, Sunday, sunny, and 46. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray. I'm Chad Robison with Your Money Now. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's newly appointed leadership plans to fire nearly all of its 1,700 employees as it winds down the agency, according to multiple sources. Elon Musk and Doge have been working to drastically reduce the size and spending of the federal government. Dell reported fourth quarter sales that fell short of analysts' estimates, but earnings did outlast Wall Street expectations. Dell shares are down less than 5% so far this year, but the share price has more than doubled over the past 2 years. Stocks finished the session higher today following the latest personal consumption expenditures price index that's aligned with expectations. Today's session ends what's been a losing week and month for Wall Street. The Dow gained more than 600, the S&P 500 was up by 92, and the Nasdaq grew by more than 1.6%. U.S. crude oil futures for April are above 73 a barrel. That's Your Money Now.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERV.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts.
Have you ever been sitting around or driving like you're probably doing right now? Man, I think I need a new furnace or an air conditioner. Have you? I mean, I think about you thinking about it all the time. Regardless of what's going on right now with the economy and with these mandates and the prices going absolutely crazy, I would have to say, without a question, the best time to buy is actually right now. No gimmicks, no tricks. 5 years, no interest on a furnace and air conditioner. Get your prices, get your quotes, get your monthly payments, and then call me and buy now to where you can make your choice and you can still get the so-called inefficient models. Call me, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Again, the easiest number, Missouri and Illinois, and your only number, 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. Now that is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
Lifestyles Unlimited member Chad on the life-changing rewards of real estate investing.
Whenever you have residents coming in thanking you for taking what was dull and drab and turning it around, making their lives better, that's definitely a blessing.
Become a life changer today with Lifestyles Unlimited. Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for just $297. A 60% off savings. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Teachers shape the future. Right now, in a classroom somewhere in the United States, there's a teacher inspiring a future scientist who'll make preventing pandemics their life's work, sharpening the mind of an aspiring environmentalist who'll help combat climate change, and generating possibilities for a student who'll be the first in their family to graduate college. Explore a career that leaves a legacy you can be proud of. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, I'm playing the Bengals because we had the author of a new biography on the Bengals. The book is called Eternal Flame. I actually got it last night, and I read a good portion of it last night and this morning. But Fred, our guest, canceled. You know, this happens every once in a while. It's not the guest's fault, though.
What we have here is a failure to communicate.
Right. It's
wow. Well played.
PR people sometimes create snafus, and unfortunately, when Fred checked in, because Fred is very diligent about the guest, checks in with the guest, and the guest is like, I'm traveling. Actually, we knew she was traveling. I'm traveling. I cannot do this because she's in London, right? Her name is Jennifer Otter Bickerdike, and she wrote this book, Eternal Flame, and it really is good. And I'm a big Bengals fan.
I'm gonna read it.
That was a group that was very unique because it was an all female band.
Girls loved it.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what I did not know, and this is what I'm learning in the book, is that, and it doesn't surprise me because it's typical of rock bands, especially from that era, is boy, they had a bad falling out at the end. It got ugly,
and then it was over.
Yeah, it was
like it wasn't
one
of these. Let's play around and get along. No.
So Michael Steele, who is the bass player for the Bengals, was in a band called the Runaways with Joan Jett. That was a big band in the '70s, all girls. She becomes the bass player. She didn't even participate in this book. She didn't want to talk about anything. And then in the New York Times account, Susanna Hoffs told the reporter that she was actually surprised by the Peterson sisters, Vicky and Debbie, the other members of the band, and their, version of what happened with Susanna. So I think now the tension is even worse after the book. But we'll see
That
if we
kind
can.
of makes it a little exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Yeah.
is a a chick fight.
I'm pretty sure we'll have her next week one day.
Well, but there's Prince is involved in this because he had a thing for Susanna Hoffs. He gifted them Manic Monday, and that was a big
That
hit.
was a great Great song.
That song that I just played there was a #1 song.
Yes.
By the way, you know what Manic Monday was too? Guess what was beating it and holding it out from #1?
Oh, I'm trying to think.
Prince,
I can think.
Kiss. Isn't that crazy? Unbelievable. All right, so we'll hopefully get her on. We got Paul Hall a little bit. Yeah, I know. I don't think I knew that until I read it in the book. Paul Hall's coming up here in a little bit. Cusumano. We have Senator Schmitt in the next hour. And then the big story of the day, if you have not been caught up with this, and I'm going to have the opportunity, since Jennifer will not be with us, to air a good portion of the audio between Zelensky, Trump, and J.D. Vance today, which was incredible. You've never heard anything or seen anything like it.
Jaw-dropping.
There was a shouting match. Zelensky basically was kicked out and told to come back when he's serious about talking peace. So we'll get into that and get reaction in the next hour on that. There was something else I was going to talk about here, Fred, wasn't there?
Fish fries.
Oh, thank you. Thank you
Yay.
very much. So we start Fish Fry Fridays next week at Holy Trinity Serbian Orthodox Church, which is in the city.
Yay!
Do you know where that is
I think
specifically?
it's Soulard area.
Yeah.
Soulard,
Serbian
it's
Drive.
63104.
All right, awesome. And then the 14th, and we're kind of sad, Jane, because Fred's not going to be at a couple of these. He's doing some travel in the month of March.
Well, the Hall of Famer deserves
He
it.
does deserve it. Knights of Columbus in Cottleville on the 14th. We've been there previously. That's a great location. Assumption Parish on the 21st off of
Great
Mattis
parish.
Road. That's in
Great
South
parish.
County.
Yep.
Queen of All Saints on the 28th. We've been there before. St. Mary Magdalene in Brentwood. I don't think we've been there
No,
before.
that's a newbie.
That's on the 4th. And on the 11th, Ott's Tavern in Millstadt, Illinois. Jane, we'll have to book flights for that one. But-
Seriously, you know who we should.
Millstadt?
Millstadt.
Okay, thank you.
Millstadt. We
Millstadt.
need. You know who we need. You know who's from Millstadt is Andy Banker.
Oh, I like
that's
Andy
perfect.
Banker.
So we have to invite
hey,
Andy.
No, that's a great idea. Does he still live there?
No, but he has family there.
Well,
He's
then
from there.
He better get his ass there.
I know,
like
so
Andy.
call-
I
Andy's
think
the
he's
best.
friendly to this show, so we'll see if Fred make a little note on that, right?
Write
he
it
already
down.
did.
Andy could
Look
be
it.
like our celebrity guest.
He already wrote it down.
How about old Fred Bottenheimer over there, ladies and gentlemen?
Exactly right.
You,
you ready
challenged the
for
Hall of
Sue's
Famer.
News on a Friday?
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment.
It's not clear messaging.
No.
And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
Well, it's Friday, so we're going to have some music, right?
Yay.
On this day in history, 49 years ago, in 1976, the Captain and Tennille won the Grammy for the best record with this one.
Yes.
And I was just playing
Love
a
will
little
keep us
Captain
together.
Seal on the bumps last week, but I did not play this one.
Love will keep us together.
Now, speaking for every young man and maybe every young boy in the 1970s,
Oh, really?
I will admit I had a crush on Toni Tennille.
Oh,
You know,
really?
yeah, she's kind of saucy. I don't know.
I played this record. I played this record a zillion times.
I was happy to discover today when I pulled it up on the YouTubes that the cover, the album cover, or just the song one, was Captain Tennille and two bulldogs.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the hat.
And the hat.
The hat. The hat was famous.
Well, you know what? In your defense, Mark, that was the haircut back then.
No, it was,
She
right.
had the haircut
True.
that we
Was
all
that
had.
the Mary Lou Retton?
No, it was before that.
It was like
It
Julie
was-
McCoy, though.
who's the
Yeah,
other
Julie
skater?
McCoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lauren Tweez.
Hamill. Donna Hamill.
Dorothy
Not
Hamill.
Dorothy
Dorothy Hamill.
Hamill.
Dorothy Hamill was. I had the Dorothy Hamill.
I did too. and
Mine
it-
didn't look like hers.
Mine didn't either. I just looked like a boy.
Right, exactly. Tell that 12-year-old boy to get out of
That's
here.
right.
Yeah, that
Who's-
was, yeah.
That's pretty much right. And then on this date in history, I remember this one. 42 years ago, in 1983, at the end of its 11th season, it was the final episode of MASH.
God, that cut me.
I know. And it aired on CBS, and it was a special 2.5-hour finale. It was watched by 106 million people. That was a record 77% of the television viewing
Yes.
audience.
I mean, I cried my
I know,
eyes
yes.
out. That last scene, if you haven't
Yeah.
seen it, go like right now. And It was so beautifully written. You know how hard it
Yeah.
is to like end a
Right.
a series.
I
Ask
arguably,
Seinfeld.
I was a
Yeah.
freshman in 1983 at Mizzou, so it finished in 83. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I probably, just thinking back in history, was more into MASH when I was in college. When I was at Mizzou, I would watch it all the time. So
I mean,
it was
I watched
essentially
every
after it
episode.
ended. But I wonder how, I just searched this because it looks like you can stream it. You may have to buy it. I wonder how that holds up. You would think quite well because
would
it's,
think.
set in wartime.
And the writing was always
really good,
so
top-notch.
brilliant.
Yeah.
I think it has to be timeless.
It's-
Now I'm
it
going to have to go
seems-
watch it.
It might be on Hulu.
Okay.
I'm going to check
Good.
that tonight. It looks like it's on Hulu.
All right, let me look.
And if you watched with any regularity, I would say, oh, it's an old one, or oh, it's a new one based on the intro and whether Radar, the back of his head was there.
Yeah, good
I mean,
point.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good show. And that's
of the
back,
best.
Ethan, when there were only 5 channels, and we really didn't have much
How many
choice.
channels?
I mean, maybe 5.
Yeah, we had
Yeah,
2,
2,
4,
4,
5,
5.
Yeah.
11, and 30.
Yeah.
And 9.
For most, and
Oh,
9
and 9
for most of my
but
life.
they would never air that.
Why did they not have channel 3? Why'd they skip
What's
2
3,
and go
maybe
straight to 4?
Maybe it was just unlucky.
Let me tell you something.
a good
That's a very
question.
interesting question
Yes.
because I don't know. Like when I was in Chicago, we had the
solid
same thing.
question.
We had 2, 4, 5. We had 11. I think we might have had 9.
3
and then we had
never
channel
gets
32.
anything.
What
3
the hell's
never,
wrong?
3 never gets anything.
Poor 3.
That's
what
worth
happened to
Googling.
3?
There's got to be
All
a
right,
reason.
go
why.
in.
You go in on that, please.
Come on, Ethan.
All right.
Research this.
You guys, I thought we would talk about this. That we're talking about Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy, and their dog that passed away. But yesterday it came out, because at first they were thinking, oh, well, it's carbon monoxide. But they couldn't. They said the first round of checks say it's not obvious that was the problem.
Right, and the gas company said, right? Didn't
And
they
the
say?
gas company said there's really no gas leak. And then they're talking about the fact that they were there for a really long time. Like, they didn't just stumble on them the next day.
Yeah.
It
Well,
was.
That's what's bizarre. Look, we have the 911 call here.
Are you with the patient now?
Yeah, I'm over at their property. There's no address here. So I have to meet the ambulance or the police, whoever, down at the gatehouse. I'll bring them up here.
How old is the patient?
I have no idea.
You don't know? Okay, that's fine. Is the patient a male or a female?
A female and a male, probably. I don't know, sir. Just send somebody up here real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That was
that's
one of the maintenance guys.
Right, and then this was the sheriff in the area saying, well, carbon monoxide was something we talked about yesterday, right, Sue?
Right.
They're not ruling that out.
Not ruling it out. What I did state was there was no obvious sign or indication of a foul play. I think the autopsy is going to tell us a lot, and any evidence that we collect. But I haven't ruled any of that out yet. It's not normal to find 2 people. That's concerning. And then there was also a dog that was in a kennel that was also found deceased.
So when I hear, because I've heard reports that they were partially mummified, does that just mean they were dead for a while?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what they were
So,
trying to say.
Last time they were seen was maybe a month ago.
Yeah, so weeks.
And they said that,
Yeah.
and it could have been carbon monoxide.
A
but
long time ago.
Or, and the dog may have died from just starvation because it was in a
kennel.
That's
Yeah, so they don't know.
That's terrible.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and there were 2 other dogs, one
Thanks,
inside,
Fred.
one out.
Sorry. Thanks for ruining the afternoon, Fred.
Wah.
I didn't
Him-
know
him-
that, though.
Him and his facts.
I tell you.
That sucks.
Oh, shoot. I forgot one of the music ones. Well, I'll keep moving. All right. I'll do it the next time.
Okay, we
Friday,
moved on.
babe.
I
By the
still
way,
have it.
Go, girl.
You're
We
too
would-
tough on yourself.
We would have heard Pretty in Pink.
Oh, I
By the
love that.
psychedelic version. You want to hear it?
Great
why,
song.
why were we going to hear it, though?
Because on this day in history, 39 years ago, that's 1986.
Yes.
This movie was released,
Well, don't skip
starring
this. This is
great.
Molly Ringwald.
part of our youth.
I mean, come
Yeah.
on. This is some great stuff.
And you dressed for the day.
She did.
That's right, you're in pink.
We saw
Psychedelic furs are so good.
Aren't they, though? I
They
love
are.
them.
Thank you.
every time this movie is on, I will watch it.
Oh, absolutely. If I'm flicking, it's on.
And,
This and 16 Candles.
Yeah, and it's a good soundtrack, too.
It I like is.
If
16
you like
Candles,
the
too.
entire
16. Oh, I mean, the donger.
That's Anthony
Yeah.
Michael Hall, right?
That's all
The
you have to
donger.
say is the donger.
That's right.
That's all you got to say.
Ethan, pull that audio there, and we might need that.
You might need that.
On it.
It could be
It's
used.
what I do.
It could be
It is
used.
what I do.
It can be used in very many circumstances.
Sometimes they ask, why am I paid? This is the reason.
that's
That's
exactly
right.
right. To
Well,
pull
I'm
goofy
here for
audio
you,
clips.
Ethan. I'm here for you.
Psychedelic furs came to the Fox sometime in
Recently.
the
They
80s.
actually
Well,
did.
They were actually they've
Did they
done a
come
reunion
again?
tour. They maybe it was Stiefel because I think they were at Stiefel in the last 7-8 years.
Interesting.
Remember when the Fox kind of did concert? I went to
do.
like
That was
Melissa
my
Etheridge
point.
there.
Yes.
I did a variety of concerts there. It's a good venue.
They still do, but they did seem to do it more
They
back
did
in the
more.
day.
They
But,
really
maybe
did.
because
They
look
have more
back
shows now.
Well, back when they did it, let's face it, the Opera House had not been renovated yet, and you also have the Factory now, and that's a bigger venue, so it might be because of the competition as well.
We say so long to February this weekend, and here are a few things to look forward to in March. You know, we always do this. Daylight saving time is next Sunday.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, it is beautiful.
That is beautiful.
Points in and of itself for just not saying the S on the end of that.
Thank
Yeah,
you for
right,
that. Appreciate that. And March 20th is the first day of spring.
March
Hooray.
7th is my son Aiden's birthday, a week from today. March 8th is Alexa Reardon's birthday, her 10th, Jane.
No, that can't
she
be
will
true.
be making it. Yeah, can you believe that? She will be making an appearance at the Fish Fry next Friday. We will sing happy birthday to her. March 27th, Judy Reardon's birthday. And
Yay.
Carol Daniel, my former colleague Carol Daniel. They share the same birthday. I always remember that.
March 10th is my dad's 60th birthday.
Nice. Oh, my God. When he's
I know.
Eden,
Just
Ethan,
let it
do you
be.
know what you just did?
You're
do
just-
you know what you just
were
did?
just
No.
mean.
Are
What I
you
do.
kidding me?
What I do?
You're mean.
How old do I turn? in-
That means that March,
35, right?
Thank you.
Yeah,
No,
that
the
was a-
same age as your freaking dad, apparently. And
we
that
could have
just makes
birthed.
me
I could have
so
birthed
sad.
him. I could have birthed him.
See, I still have this image like I'm hip, young, 30-something, and it's
No, you just
the furthest
you
from the
just
truth.
dress-
Hey,
you just
this
dress
is the
that
most hip group of seasoned veterans
Yeah,
Oh,
thank
I've
you.
nice.
ever surrounded myself
Well
with.
done. Well done.
was
Roll
nice work.
Tide.
Hey, Mark, my dad turns as old as you this week. That's awesome to hear.
Hey, at least you're not his grandfather. And
Is your dad a grandpa yet?
No.
Okay.
I'm the oldest.
Get busy. Get busy.
Easy.
yeah, goodness gracious. It's almost March Madness time.
Oh.
Selection Sunday is March 16th.
Yay.
The men get started on the 18th. The women starts up the next day. New MLB season starts in just a few weeks. Cubs and Dodgers play the first series in Japan on the 18th. Opening day for everybody else, March 27th.
Are you going to the game, Fred?
You know, I'm going to be in Tokyo that
no
day.
way.
So
You
if I
have
can't get
to.
to the game, well, I don't know if I can't get to the game. I'm on this tight schedule, you know.
Here's the great thing.
But I may be able to find some stuff to buy.
You're with the tour group, right?
Yeah.
Just say,
Yeah.
look, I'm
Yeah,
going to
I'm
the
going
freaking
to the
baseball
game.
game.
Buy tickets online, and then what are they going to do?
If you find anything cool, I will pay you back.
All right.
Oh,
Putting
bold.
that out there
I
now.
know.
Bold.
Yeah, but it can't have anything that has a C on it or a UBS.
Anything.
Just to be clear. Just to be clear, okay?
Wait, anything without a C or a UBS?
Yes.
But you're
Yeah.
okay with Dodgers?
No, not really, but certainly not the other one.
It's a battle of the two evils,
Okay.
but
I'll take the
it's in
Dodgers.
Japan.
Yeah, I'll take the Dodgers.
I could take something that's not either of those things, Fred.
Okay.
Other stuff on TV.
Sure doesn't want baseball from
I
Japan, is what I'm
don't
hearing.
want- I
There's
don't want
something
any
you,
Cubs
you
or
really like.
Dodgers
You like
stuff.
something really small. What is it?
Well,
Oh, lip stuff.
I like, but I'm
No, you're out of that?
I'm full up on that.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah.
what I got her in Florida.
I
Yeah,
remember?
because you two both got me, which I love, but I got too much. I'm full up now.
What are you going to get me, Fred?
You know what?
I
don't
said
know.
I'd pay him back, guys.
Okay, that's right. Other stuff on TV, the Oscars this Sunday, whatever.
Yeah,
Bill
that's how I
Burr's-
feel. And I'm the guy that reviewed movies for 30
That's
years and I
true.
don't even give a rip.
Bill Burr's new stand-up special hits Hulu on the 14th.
Yeah, I've been seeing the ads for that.
The Simpsons, I just am bringing this up because it's their 37th season on March 30th. And I love Bosch. Have you watched Bosch Legacy?
I haven't watched Legacy.
Oh, it's so
Is it?
good.
I need this, don't I?
Yes, it's
Okay.
back on the 27th.
You would like it, Fred.
What is it?
Bosch.
Bosch. Have you read any of those books?
No.
Oh, who's the author?
Oh, I
don't have
can't think
brain
of it,
bring
but
up.
he's great.
So
writes a
Bosch
ton of
is
books.
a series that has, how many seasons on
Oh,
Prime?
multiple.
I've heard very good things about it.
Four?
Never touched it
Four or
yet.
so, 4 or 5. Maybe?
Yeah, it's excellent,
But,
Mark. You would
okay,
like
but
it.
what's the difference between Bosch Legacy? Is that like
It's
a,
just after he leaves a certain position and goes to another. Like
Same
he's
actor,
a
though?
police officer, and then he's a detective on his own.
same actor did,
Yes.
though? Okay.
Yes, and he's really
excellent.
good.
Yeah, excellent. All right, and finally, let's see. Well, in theaters, Robert Pattinson's sci-fi thriller Mickey 17 on Friday. And the Disney new live-action Snow White on the 21st, I have zero interest in that. Finally, the holidays.
That could border on creepy.
Yes, it could.
The kissing thing, like how are we
What?
going to roll
I
that?
don't-
I mean, that. Okay, that's weird.
There's also been so much noise around that movie.
Yeah, because
very
she's
far
way
left,
woke.
Super woke.
I hope
just
it flops.
trashing on the original.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, really?
How are they going
big
to portray
time.
the little people? Like, I mean, the name of the thing is dwarfs. Like,
Yeah.
what are you going to do with
Let's
that?
see how this film fares, because to Ethan's point, there's been a lot of undercurrents with negative publicity. So we'll see how Disney does with that.
And finally, in Sue's News, we have today's random fact. I read this and I thought, oh, well, okay. Kitty litter was invented in Michigan in 1947. Before that, people just used soil or ashes.
Okay, wait a minute.
1947?
In the house?
I don't know. Maybe that's when cats came into the house,
That's-
when they
that's-
invented the kitty
That's what I
litter.
was at what point did pets really start becoming a thing?
Always.
Oh, a
Dogs,
long
always.
time.
Dogs are
But
all, I mean,
inside? Inside?
Sure.
Okay.
Because the dogs go out. Like, they,
they go out to do their business.
Right.
Ethan's point is, look, there's a lot of
Yeah.
people in rural America, and they've kept their dogs pinned outside. They don't have them indoors,
Well, that's
right?
true. Right. They have a barn or
But
other.
that fascinates me. And you know what? People are always surprised because
never thought about
of my bunny, Oreo. And by the way, you can follow him at Oreo Smario the Bunny on Instagram. But you know what we use for litter? Because he's litter trained. I think people might not realize that I have a bunny running around my house and he's not pooping everywhere because he's litter trained. We use these wood pellets. That's what his litter is. And it basically,
works?
yeah, because it basically, when he pees on the wood pellets, it essentially disintegrates them. And they're cheap. I buy them at the Rabbit Society. Yeah, it's what
Does he do a
people
good
use for
job?
their fuel.
He knows to go there?
Oh yeah.
He's
Dude,
trained.
if he's not going in the box, he ain't getting out of the cage. That's my rule with all my animals.
Still waiting for you to bring him in.
Yeah,
I've
but
been waiting
seriously.
very
Right.
patiently.
But see, he would poop in the room here.
Yeah.
He'd poop and pee in
Bring
here.
the wood, bring the pellets
Can't you
here.
bring the pellets?
Nope, you guys, forget
He'd
it.
have to put it in his
We don't.
tank.
We don't
He does
know
not
about
want
our
to put it-
bunnies.
Yeah.
Bring them to the fish
Just
fry.
come to my
Bring them
house.
to a fish fry. We can cage them
I
up.
won't-
They may
I won't
try
be
to
at the
serve them
fish
for
fries.
dinner,
Oh, that's
Fred.
true.
That's not a good idea either. Sue, help me here. Get me out of this.
No bunnies.
Yeah.
No bunnies.
Oh.
Killjoys.
By the way, they also used newspaper sawdust, dirt,
Yes.
and sand.
Right, that makes
Anything
sense.
they could find in
Newspaper
the
makes
house.
sense to me.
And that's it for Sue's News.
All right, there you go. There's your random fact. We argued about the random fact today quite a bit. There was a lot of debate. It was almost like Zelensky and Trump and J.D. Vance in the White House. Paul Hall is coming up next.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
There was a stall reported westbound 370 past St. Louis Mills Boulevard. Watch for that in the right lane. And most of the volume we have is not on 70. There's some moderate volume here and there. It's downtown. It's westbound 44. There's road work at the 55 split, a lane down, and that's created a jam back to the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge, but also back across the Poplar Street Bridge, back onto 5570 at 203. Also jammed is eastbound 44, headed for 55, also due to road work. And we've got southbound 55 with slow pockets south of Arsenal, and that goes down through Revis Barracks. And other than that, it's the usual volume. So westbound 6440, lining up approaching Kings Highway out to McCausland. This report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, Lakeside Renovation and Design has been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out. From windows and siding to kitchens, baths, and outdoor spaces, they deliver quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Visit lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk. Do you ever wonder, because I think all of us have at one point or another, do I have enough money saved for retirement? And the way that I like to handle it is I just like to have information. Give me the information. What am I supposed to do? And that's what they have here. It's an adult class called Retirement Planning 101. It's one night only. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from a financial and tax architects with decades of financial planning experience. And they hold these things at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. It's a one-shot deal. You only have to go for one night, not multiple weeks. But you learn everything. How do I reduce my taxes? When do I take Social Security? What if something comes up? And they're free. Just bring 3 canned goods for St. Louis Crisis Nursery. There are some spaces left this month and next. Just give them a call and register. Go and check it out. 314-947-2012. Just register at 314-947-2012.
We'll give you some movie and television streaming recommendations. Coming up next.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Jim Brennan of McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSC and SIPC.
There's a music station that fits your taste at Odyssey.com. Download the app for instant access to hundreds of music stations and listen live to 97.1 FM Talk. The Odyssey app. Download it or stream from 971talk.com. Saying what you're thinking. Mark Reardon.
All right, it's a Friday afternoon, and Mr. Paul Hall is with us. Cusumano a little bit later in the hour. Paul from Common Guy Films, and we're going to talk a little Oscars, but some recommendations heading into the weekend. How are you on this fine Friday?
I'm good. I feel like I should fight with you or Sue or somebody. Jane, anyone want to fight? I mean, it seems like the day.
Yeah.
I know. I got all feisty about it, too. I got sucked into the fighting.
A lot of fighting going on, but we can be calm talking about some entertainment. So what do we got? What do we want to start with here?
Well, it seems like if we're going to fight, we should talk about our Last Breath, right?
All
so
right.
Last Breath is in theaters right now.
Okay, in you go. Stay safe, brother.
Diver in the water at 300 feet.
The thrusters have gone offline.
How many?
All of them.
Ship's moving. Get out of there.
Right now. Copy that. A smack. There is no more slack. The ship's not drifting. This is because of It's a body recovery now. No, it's not. I'm not losing a diver today.
I don't know anything about this one, so you're going to have to share that for sure.
Well, you know, it is Oscar weekend, so you probably aren't going to know a lot about the titles that I do have to talk about. Last Breath is quietly sneaking out with Woody Harrelson, Simu Liu, and Finn Cole in the lead role. This is based on a true story. They go underneath the surface, and they compare it to, you know, an astronaut when they go into space. They're kind of left out on their own out in space and trusting a lot of people to get back. Same when you go underneath the ocean. These guys are over trying to repair a pipeline below, you know, multiple hundreds of feet below the surface, and things don't go as you planned. Here's the deal about this one. Based on a true story, so you can't really criticize too much of the story. The problem I had with Last Breath was I don't think it sets the characters up enough so you get invested in who they are. They're dealing with an absolutely harrowing situation, and whether they are going to get back up to the surface along the way. However, it just felt like I didn't care enough about the characters. I just felt like they didn't develop them, and therefore it felt like something was missing throughout. It's not a bad film in the way they build the tension, and the tension is there. If this is your type of thing, you might like it. I was disappointed.
All right. I want to talk about this Kate Hudson show, but is My Dead Friend Zoe worth talking about at all?
Yeah, I liked My Dead Friend Zoe. This one caught me by surprise. I got to see it a couple weeks ago. It's open now everywhere. Natalie Morales. I love Natalie Morales, Ed Harris. There are people along here as well as one of our leads being Sonequa Martin Green. This is a story of people who went to war and something happened and they came back. Well, obviously the title tells you something happened to one of these folks before they came back. And it's coping on the back end. It's based on true events. You get to see some of the actual people at the end that were involved in this. They did change it around. It was men that dealt with it before, but now it's women. And you know what I think is really cool about this aspect of changing the genders here is it shows that not only men but women do deal with PTSD and the whole idea of coming back home and trying to assimilate with a life they used to know. Ed Harris, Morgan Freeman as well is in this. I like this a lot, and it is a very emotional film. I would warn against folks who may have some, memories of wartime or did do service. It may be good for you. It may be bad for you, depending on how you react to it. But My Dead Friend Zoe is in theaters now, was an award winner with South by Southwest and others. It's definitely worth your time.
Okay, Kate Hudson. May or may not have a big crush on her and have for a long time, but she's got a new show out called Running Point.
I work in a family business, the greatest basketball franchise in the history of the game, the Los Angeles Waves. And this is the story of the up family that runs it.
Isla, I am making you the president of the Waves.
You are the president of the Waves. This is shocking. But on behalf of all women, don't ever make a mistake. Looks bad for all of us.
So I really am a fan of Kate Hudson, Almost Famous, one of my favorite movies ever. But here's what I would say, and maybe you can fill in some blanks here. I felt like she had a really strong start to her career. She's the daughter of Hollywood royalty to a certain extent, right? Mm-hmm. But then she was just in a bunch of crap, like just really, really bad stuff. So I'm hoping for a little comeback here.
I think you might be pleasantly surprised, Mark. I really like Running Point. It's on Netflix now, all 10 episodes of the show that basically kind of takes its cues from, obviously, they call it the Los Angeles Waves. It kind of takes its cues from the Lakers, and she's kind of taking some cues from owner of the Lakers, Jenny Buss, right now, as she took over after her father left. It's really a funny show dealing with day-to-day in the NBA and day-to-day as a woman in a man's world, as an owner that, it's like an old boys club and trying to break in, do something different. The creators here, Mark, Ike Barinholtz, Mindy Kaling, Elaine Coates, I mean, these are people you've seen do work, and they're funny. This is a funny show with great people throughout. If you're a basketball fan, if you're just a fan of this kind of fish out of water type of thing, I really enjoyed what I've been through so far. I've got through most of the episodes. I haven't finished all of them yet, but Kate Hudson works in spades here.
That's good to hear. I have a question about something, but do you have anything else you want to talk about for this weekend?
I think those are the biggest things to touch on. Some good true life documentaries are dropping, but they're nothing major.
Okay, so last week, and Jane, I'm curious to see if you've checked this out. I have watched the first episode of 0 Day with Robert De Niro, who plays like a former American president. There's something really bad that happens where the entire grid gets cut off and a lot of people die, and then he's called into service as this, basically this, have you seen it, Jane, or not?
No,
okay.
I've seen
So how would you describe the
advertised.
character? Is he's someone who's supposed to kind of come in and make the country feel a little bit more positive in the aftermath of the disaster. But then at the end of the first episode, something pretty significant happens that I didn't see coming, and it left me a little confused. You liked this, though, didn't you, Paul?
I did. It moves along quite well. And I thought it was kind of ironic. De Niro's character here is exactly almost the opposite of what his real-life persona was doing during the last election cycle. And it's kind of it's very interesting in that, he's being protested about stuff, and he was doing the protesting during real life. So you'll get a lot of those neat juxtapositions here. It's a good I think it's a 6-episode series, and it does come to a conclusion I may not have liked so much, but the ride is good.
Have you haven't checked it out, Jane?
No.
Well, you seem like you're hesitant.
I don't know. I saw a preview of it, and I just wasn't I don't know. I wasn't sure.
I threw it on kind of late the other night just to see what it was all about. It took me 2 nights to get through it. But again, and Paul, you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil, but there is something that happens that's relatively significant. I'm like, I didn't know that's the direction the show was going to go in, and now I'm even left. It makes me want to watch it because I don't know what the hell they're going to do.
Okay.
So I would say that. But the other thing
good.
about it is I thought the cast is outstanding. Jesse Plemons plays a very interesting character, different than I've seen him play before. Connie Britton's in this. Joan Allen, we haven't seen her in a while. Matthew Modine plays, I think, a senator. Angela Bassett is the president. So this is a top-notch cast. And despite, I just can't stand De Niro and his politics.
I know.
But I try to put that aside and watch this. And it is so funny, to Paul's point. He's literally playing the opposite of what he is in real life.
Well,
I guess that's because he's a good actor. Yeah,
right.
exactly. Tell folks where they can find your reviews, Paul.
It's simple, commonguy.com. Oscars are airing on ABC and Hulu, so if you want to stream an Oscar ceremony for the first time, and honestly, it's the first time, I know there's a lot of people with no interest in it, and it's the first time I honestly don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of controversy and talk about what might come home Best Picture. I really don't know. Conclave, Anora, we'll see.
Conclave won the BAFTA.
Yep.
You think Anora has a chance?
Anora won Critics' Choice and a couple other, I would think it was PGA that week. So people are winning different awards to the point where people are scratching their heads, myself included, going, which one are the actors going to go for? SAG, I think, went Conclave as well.
Yeah.
So it's all over the map. It's really actually a wide open ceremony. It would be probably the best one to watch in quite some time.
Yeah. It was interesting because SAG doesn't do a Best Picture. They do Best, whatever they call it, acting ensemble. Right, exactly. All right, Paul, we'll see what happens on the Oscars, and we'll talk next week. Thank you so much.
Take care, everyone.
All right, Jane, hang out. Sue, hold on. We got Frank Cusumano coming up next.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, let's see. We've got plenty of volume out there tonight on southbound 55, and it's just south of Arsenal down through Rebus Barracks in the construction zone. But I'm seeing a parking lot jam on westbound Highway 30. There is an accident past New Sugar Creek Road, and it's really causing a delay. It's closer to Brennan, so expect a real jam through there. 21 looks fine. Southbound 270, slow pockets of mainly moderate volume, but it does stretch from Page down through 21. We've got plenty of volume on westbound 6440, Kings Highway out through McCausland. Moderate volume at Lindbergh. And out west, that's where we usually see most of the volume. Right now, it's just moderate at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Now, we've got a jam eastbound 44 headed for 55 due to road work. Westbound 44 jammed headed for the Arch. We've got heavy traffic in both directions on the Poplar Street Bridge. And 40 has moderate volume back to Jefferson. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, Frank Cusumano coming up to talk sports here. Senator Schmitt to reflect on the day's events in Washington. Big shouting match in the White House between not Elon Musk. He was for the first time he wasn't there. No, it was J.D. Vance, Zelensky, and the president. We'll report back on that here after the top of the hour. I went to the Missouri Athletic Club West location last night to have a great dinner with some friends, and they have some awesome things happening at both downtown location and the West location for the month of March, which I believe kicks in tomorrow. They have a Irish whiskey tasting. Now, I don't drink. It sounds like something Mark Cox would do. That's at the Downtown Clubhouse on March 12th. They're doing this is different. I don't know if I'm familiar with one of these before. They have tickets for Some Like It Hot, which is at the Fox, and they're doing it through the MAC, so you can, go to the Downtown Clubhouse, have some dinner, take a shuttle down to the show, and then come back to the MAC, and it's really, really a great offer. They're also doing some special things for St. Patrick's Day at the Downtown Clubhouse. So if you're an MAC member, you should check that out. And you can always find out more at mac-stl.org for the Missouri Athletic Club.
Mark Cox here for my friends at Home Shield Foundation. This is a local family-owned company. They do waterproofing. They do crack repair. They can replace your sump pump and do complete waterproofing and drain tile and sump pit installation in your basement. And the owner, Matt Hayes, promises you this. He's going to come in. He's going to inspect your basement to determine the property repair that's needed. Check him out today. Tell him Mark Cox sent you. It's HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
I am the place that sent men into space.
NASA needed the brightest minds to build the Mercury and Gemini capsules that would carry the first Americans to space, paving the way for the moon landing. It would find them at St. Louis's McDonnell Aircraft Corporation. It took the work of thousands of St. Louisans to send history makers like Alan Shepard and John Glenn to touch the stars. St. Louis is more fascinating than you realize, and the Missouri Historical Society is giving it a proper introduction. Learn more at wearestlewis.com.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Mark Cantor. For 20 years, they've been shooting rockets at us. We're like, Israel's like the punching bag for these terrorists, and the world has expected them to just take the hit.
The Mark Cox Morning Show, weekdays from 5 to 9. Broadcasting what most people are afraid to say. Mark Reardon.
Well, we have another big college basketball weekend that's on tap. Mizzou heading to Nashville to take on Vanderbilt. I guess they'll be back in Nashville in a couple of weeks too, Mr. Frank Cusumano. How are you on this Friday afternoon?
Really good, and I'm glad you're leading with this because this is really an intriguing game. You wouldn't have thought Mizzou-Vandy would be fascinating if you would have said this in the beginning of the season, but Vanderbilt has come out of nowhere. Their last two wins have been against Ole Miss and I think Texas A&M, ranked 24 and 12, and they're suddenly a force. And they're going to go to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2017. So this is going to be a great test for the Tigers.
They beat A&M on the road a couple of nights ago, and you have 3 games left for a team that's looking like a 4 or 5 seed. I still think there's room to climb up the seeding ladder, but you got to close strong, and winning that game tomorrow would really do a lot. Then you got Kentucky at home. You got to go on the road against Oklahoma, and then back in Nashville for the SEC tournament, Frank.
Yeah, and if you go in as a 4 seed, of course, you know what? I don't know what kind of difference it makes to go in a high seed in the SEC tournament. Everybody's good. But the bottom line is what you say is true. The more games you win, the higher your seed's going to be. And they got a real chance to be a 4 or maybe even a 3.
Look, you've got teams right now that in the SEC, even Georgia. Look, there's no easy games in the SEC. South Carolina played, they played them tough for at least a little bit. They got smoked the other night, but they won their first game in the SEC last week. They're kind of South Carolina is like the Mizzou of last year, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, think about this for a second. Oklahoma began the season 11-0, and they had big-time victories.
Yep.
And now they can barely beat anybody in the SEC. It is the greatest conference in the history of college basketball.
Amen.
And it'll be statistically proven because of the NCAA tournament comes, and I think the highest number is 9, and they're going to go at least 12. So it's unbelievable.
Did you see, there's been a couple of games in the Big Ten. I hate Big Ten basketball, but I was watching last night. The end of the Michigan game and then Michigan State, both games end with miraculous 3-pointers in the last second.
Yeah.
The Michigan State victory at Maryland as a half-court shot, and it really was an ugly game, like old Big Ten basketball, but it was still a miraculous ending. It was something else.
Did you see the game last night? I mean, they had, 3.5 seconds, Michigan, to score, and I believe there was a little bit of a defensive lap on that last inbound play, and they got a 3 and won the game. What about SLU in Illinois this weekend?
Well, I know about SLU. Mark, I don't know if you saw it the other night. They were at Davidson. They led the game for 62 seconds. I don't know if anybody's going to win a basketball game this year where you just lead it for 62 seconds. They went on a 19-5 run in the final 4 minutes and beat Davidson. Tomorrow it's going to be a packed house at Shavitz. They're going to play a really good Loyola team who beat them in Chicago about 15 days ago. And so SLU's starting to play, much better. They're starting to add a little depth. Some freshmen are picking it up.
What about baseball, Frank? What are we hearing from spring training at this point?
Well, the encouraging thing is this, is what the Cardinals' biggest strength may be is young pitching. And you're seeing Quinn Matthews, the minor league pitcher of the year, go out there and throw 2 scoreless and strike out Vlad Guerrero and just look like a guy in total command of his world. And then you see Michael McGreevy, who was so brilliant last year, go out and pitch really well. So I don't know what the present is going to be like. I do know there's some kind of future with some of these young pitchers.
Yeah, you just it's so hard to gauge this. Even in years that we have high expectations, like the last couple of years, spring training is very confusing. You're trying to see, who's going to be on the roster. I think we're just kind of looking for some hope at this point.
Yeah,
exactly. And I will say this: Nolan Arenado looks like he's going to be with the team. He talked about how this offseason he wanted to be more explosive, and he lost some weight. He's more cut up. Hit a home run the other day. Who knows? Nolan Arenado may look like Nolan Arenado from like 3 years ago.
Awesome. All right. Well, I just noticed a couple of things on ESPN. I guess there were some rumors about Matt Stafford maybe moving on, but it looks like the Rams are going to keep him. And then have you seen this news that the Giants might be looking at Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah,
which me?
Is one of the oddest things for both parties because it's a rebuild, and then if you're 40, you don't want to go to a team that's not going to win, so it's really odd. I still think, I wonder if the Raiders, now that they lost Stafford, will kick the tires. I can imagine that meeting, Tom Brady chatting with Aaron Rodgers about coming to play football in Vegas. That'd be kind of cool.
Look, I'm one of the outliers. I still love Aaron, and but I think at this point, man, the Giants, I don't know that's the Jets tried that. That was already tried, right? Let's move on. They need a real quarterback. Frank, have a great weekend. Oh, what's coming up on Sunday night? I should mention that, obviously.
Sunday night, we're going to have Gibson Jimerson, the all-time leading scorer for SLU, in studio, and a profile of Bob Sunvold, who is John's brother, and he's the winningest coach in UMSL history. At 69 years of age, he's having the greatest run of his career. Just really a cool guy, too.
I was thinking about him, and I never knew Coach Sunvold. I knew Kim and Rich Daly quite well back in the day, but I didn't know Bob. And it's funny because they keep hearkening back to that 88-89 season when Mizzou beat the same amount of top 5 teams as they did this year. And he was on that staff, and that was an amazing year for Mizzou that season, 88-89. So it's good to hear he's done well.
And Frank, did you see my John Sunvold tape on Twitter?
Did you hear about that from last week? So Jane does not know Sunvold, but explain the story. What happened?
Well, I mean, so my daughter's boss who works for Alabama, and we were going to Columbia for the game
last week, right?
Last week,
week and a half ago,
and he knew that the reason I went to Mizzou, I was obsessed with John Sunvold, obsessed. And when I was in high school, I broke into the locker room when we played at State. I was basically a stalker.
Yes, exactly.
And he got John Sunvold to do a tape saying, you got to come to the game. I'm so excited that you're a big Mizzou fan, and I'm glad you're still in Missouri. Well, I thought it was AI. I thought my daughter was just, dogging me and had a new skill. But it really was him. I mean, I was screaming. I was so happy. So, yeah, I got a tape message from John Sunvold.
It was kind of cool.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
He's very sweet.
He's such an unbelievable guy. In fact, he calls Bob like every day when he's going through the McDonald's line to get like an Egg McMuffin. He just checks in with Bob how the team is doing right now.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Awesome. All right, Frank, hey, am I to understand, I don't know if you've been informed about this, but are you my VIP and Monique for Brian Kilmeade in a couple of weeks? Have you even talked about that by our friend Jeff Drew?
Yes. We are really excited. The King is taking us. We're excited. You're going to be on stage with Brian, correct?
Well, wait, slow down here. There was some misinformation. No, I'm taking you, and Jeff can come along as well. Yeah, it's not. He ain't taking you anywhere. I'm taking you for once. Yeah. Hey, have a great weekend. We'll talk soon.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
I told Brian this a couple of days ago. This is no joke. I've been hit up for this show for Brian Kilmeade more than any other show, maybe in my carear. And
he's not even taking me.
Well, you better talk to someone here because we're only given a little bit of leeway on some tickets, and
And I'm not on the list, top of the list.
Jane, I will.
Apparently
not.
not.
Do you really want to go?
Oh, I went last time.
Now that you're a Republican.
Last time I went and I had a ball.
Oh, you did. That's right. You came with us.
I did, and I had fun.
Well, it's the 22nd.
It's already on my calendar. I was just waiting for you to ask.
I think that 97.1 FM Talk employees will be able to be there. You are technically one of us.
Yes,
so
I can
we will
come.
get you there for sure.
Okay, cool. I'm in.
And I've got some tickets in the rafters that I can.
And I can stand in the back.
Yeah, it's a really big venue. And by the way, go to thefactory.com. You can buy tickets, or you can go to briankilmeade.com. There are VIP tickets available.
Out, right?
I think it's going to sell out. We got a few more weeks, but he has not played a venue this size on his tour. And by the way, he was talking about yesterday. It's a variety show. It's a lot about American history. There's quite a bit, I think, that points toward next year and the celebration of the sesquicentennial and the love of America. So it is more of a variety show. And he does say at the end there's Q&A, so some of the politics, people might ask questions. But it's not going to be just all politics by any stretch of the imagination. All right, Duker, what do you got this weekend? You got plans?
Yeah, I'm just hanging out and eating good food on the hill.
I have a friend who is in town, and I remember when I played Christmas music, you have to because I talked about it nearly every day that they were allowing me to play Christmas music. I play this song every year called Family Christmas by a singer-songwriter by the name of Lizzie West. And I love the song so much. It's an original Christmas song. I've literally played it on the air ever since it came out, every show that I've done, whether on KMOX or when I was in Milwaukee as well. And I'd lost contact with Lizzie. I knew her, my wife and I. And then I just started getting curious a few weeks ago. And what I realized is that her real name was not Lizzie West. It's Cassidy Mays. And I didn't know that. So we reunited. She's in town from the Catskills. She's going to start doing some recording in Columbia, Missouri. I'm going to introduce her to some of my music friends like Neil Sosik here, who's with the Mighty Pines. But I haven't seen her in probably 16, 17 years, and she's in St. Louis to do a little music. Now, in the next hour, I was going to have the author of the new book on the Bengals, which I started reading this morning. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of a PR snafu, and that got canceled, so we're going to reschedule that, but Senator Schmitt's coming up. Jane, have a great weekend.
I will.
We'll see you at the Fish Fry next week.
Woo.
We start Fish Fry Fridays.
Yay!
Down in, that's
Love
at the
it.
Serbian Church in Soulard.
Yep.
Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com. Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Plenty of volume on this Friday. Westbound 70, moderate volume at Jennings Station, past the airport. 64 is slower, and this is Kings Highway out past McCausland. Eastbound is a slow go at Big Bend. And if you are headed into Illinois, 6440 is back near Jefferson. And it's a little slow on the bridge itself eastbound, but westbound is jammed. And that's from the 6470 split. And part of the problem is a jam on westbound 44 on the Missouri side in front of the arch. And that's causing a delay. And we also have a delay on eastbound 44 past the 55 split, also due to road work. Now, southbound 270, it's mainly moderate volume Page down through just past 44. And there was that earlier accident westbound Highway 30 near Brennan Road. That really caused a delay. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Sue, I was remiss in my duties because we are covering here on 97.1 FM Talk the SLU game tomorrow, 3 p.m. tip-off. The KMOX folks have a Cardinals game on. So SLU basketball tomorrow right here on 97.1 FM Talk. I looked at the market. Oh, my God, it's been terrible for a while. This week was awful, but up 600 points today. Let's talk about your retirement and guide you into some really, really good professional help here with the Retirement Advisory Group. Thomas Helbig and the team. They are the official financial planners of this show and also Mark's and Annie's. And we'd love for you to get to know Thomas. We have these events 5 times a year. Another one's coming up very soon. But don't put this meeting off, especially because time is of the essence. We know that inflation has taken away a lot of the savings that people have had. So maybe you have to plan a little differently than you did before the pandemic in particular. But how do you do that? And how do you safely link to the market to make sure that when things do kind of collapse on Wall Street, you're not hit? No client of Thomas's has ever lost a penny of their money. How is that possible? They know people are skeptical. Bring the skepticism to a meeting with Thomas and the team. Set that appointment up today by calling 314-993-9494 or online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com for Thomas Helbig and the Retirement Advisory Group.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. Where do you go for your annual eye health examination? Ophthalmology Associates, of course. Doctors Greg Birdie and Ranjan Malhotra. Dr. Robert Bersati, he's the one I saw. Or Dr. Andrew Royer. They are available to you and are there to take care of all your vision needs at Ophthalmology Associates. They're on Manchester Road, a half-mile west of 270. Your vision is their business at Ophthalmology Associates. In fact, many of their patients are doctors themselves. That's why they call themselves the doctors, Ophthalmology Associates. Are your eyes itchy and scratchy? It could be more than just allergies. They're the leaders in dry eye diagnosis and treatment. They're the leaders in LASIK and discussing those procedures. And if you're having difficulty reading or driving at night, you have glare from oncoming headlights, could be early signs of cataracts, and they can talk to you about multifocal lens implants. Ophthalmology Associates, youridoc.com.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or CVS. That's newnordicusa.com.
When someone hears the words, "You have cancer," it's one of the darkest moments in their life. Light the Night brings light to the darkness of cancer by uniting survivors, patients, and supporters in the cause to end cancer. Friends, families, and coworkers form a community of hope, raising funds in support of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Together, we walk with lanterns held high to light the path to cures. Last year alone, the FDA approved 18 new drug therapies and treatments to treat blood cancers. The impact of LLS-supported research goes beyond blood cancer. The discoveries made in blood cancer research have led to breakthrough treatments for many cancers and other serious diseases. When we walk, cancer runs. Join the movement to end cancer today. Visit us at lightthenight.org.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Look like a man who wants peace. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Those words from President Trump hours after an Oval Office meeting with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky that devolved into a shouting match.
It didn't work out exactly great from his standpoint. I think he very much overplayed his hand.
The president with the comments as he departed the White House for Mar-a-Lago. The two were supposed to sign a deal that would give U.S. access to rare earth minerals in Ukraine to offset the U.S. cost of helping Ukraine fight Russia. Part of the agreement calls for negotiations with Russia to end the war.
Now, if we don't do anything, he's going to have to make peace, but he's dealing with a very weak set of cards. If we sign, he's dealing with a very strong set of cards, and then he doesn't want to make peace. So that's where we are. It's very simple.
Zelensky left the White House without signing anything. Meanwhile, a Russian strike on a medical facility started a fire in Kharkiv. That's according to the mayor. An update on the investigation to the death of Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman and his wife, who were found dead in their Santa Fe, New Mexico home earlier this week.
Both individuals tested negative for carbon monoxide. An initial interrogation was conducted of Mr. Hackman's pacemaker. This revealed that his last event was recorded on February 17th, 2025.
Santa Fe County Sheriff Adon Mendoza. Hackman's body was found in the entryway of the home while his wife was found in the bathroom. A dead German Shepherd was found in a kennel. There were open bottles of medication found in the bathroom. Authorities recovered thyroid medicine, high blood pressure medication, and Tylenol. The sheriff's office says there's no indication of foul play, but the deaths are suspicious enough to require a thorough search and investigation. Wall Street stocks rallied, making up for some of the losses this month. The Dow gained 601 points. America's listening to Fox News.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out. Oh, Downy the rinse straight. Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Plenty of sunshine and springtime on this Friday afternoon. Windy and warm, 70 for the high, 10 short of the record, which is 80. Tonight, a dry cold front passes by. We turn colder, mostly clear, 32. First weekend of March, Saturday, sunny, breezy, and chilly, 44. 27 Saturday night, and Sunday, sunny, and 46. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Could you make $500,000 in retirement savings feel like $1 million?
or $1 million feel like $2 million? The key is having a comprehensive financial plan for taxes, Social Security, inflation, healthcare, income, and more. Discover how you could make money go a lot further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class, Retirement Planning 101. Guys, it's Dave Glover from KMOX. This one-night class is taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects with decades of financial planning experience. They're held at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. There's no cost. Just bring 3 canned goods for the St. Louis Crisis Nursery. If you've saved $300,000 or more for retirement, register by calling 314-350-8110. 314-350-8110. If, like me, you haven't quite had the pedal to the metal the way you should, or if you've had the pedal to the metal the entire time, either way, give us a call. We can help you out. We'll take you wherever you are. 314-350-8110. 314-350-8110 for Financial and Tax Architects.
If you're the victim of a car accident or suffered a work injury in St. Louis, you want attorneys who live here and work here to handle your case. You want someone who knows St. Louis and is about St. Louis. You want Kaufman Townsley. We settle only when it's in your best interest, and when it's not, we go to trial. And nobody has more experience than our attorneys. Experience that pays off for you. Kaufman Townsley. Real people, real results. Call 314-500-5000. That's 314-500-5000.
When's the last time you gave your home's exterior a little love? Hi, it's Kim, and if your siding is cracking, it's fading, or just doesn't stand up to our St. Louis weather, it's time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design because they're experts in James Hardy siding, which is this durable, low-maintenance option, and it looks beautiful. Plus, you have customizable colors and textures, and so you can give your home a completely new look while protecting it for decades. Don't wait until the small problems turn into big ones. Visit lakesidearty.com to schedule your free consultation.
Hi, it's Mark Cox. If you're thinking about selling your home, I know you have a ton of questions. Fact is, selling your home in this real estate market isn't as easy as it used to be. Just look at the headlines. One small mistake can cost you thousands. So before you sell, take a few minutes and get to know Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, just like I have. She is St. Louis real estate expert. I've been telling you about Gloria for over 5 years now. She has written guarantees that'll give you certainty and the most money in today's uncertain market. And you're always in the driver's seat. You know exactly how much you'll make on the sale of your home from the very start. That's because Gloria will guarantee up front and in writing to sell your home at your agreed upon price, or Gloria will buy it. Take it from me. Call Gloria today at 314-325-6888. or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Again, that's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Looking for SLU men's basketball? You found it right here this weekend on 97.1. Tune in for the Billikens game at 3. Pre-game starting at 2:45. SLU versus Loyola. We're hosting the Billikens game for you right here this Saturday. This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts.
Do something a little different here, and we may have to work backwards just because there's news happening. And if you're not caught up on what happened at the White House today, there was a nuclear explosion during a meeting between the president, the vice president, and Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president. It was hot. It was a shouting match. I'm going to feature some audio here as we move along. We're going to have Senator Schmitt, who's going to join us as well. But Zelensky he was sent packing. They said, you're out. Come back if you really want to talk peace. He is currently on Fox doing an interview with Brett Baer. It may have been recorded a little earlier this afternoon, but let's sample this just a little bit here.
And this will be the first step to security guarantees, but it's not enough. I think so. Maybe I don't know something. I don't know some details. That's why I wanted to share it with the president, my thoughts, and to hear him. Again, because he has a plan how to stop Putin. And maybe, as I said, maybe it's out of big conversations, but we have to share it. You know, this is so sensitive. You know, just a ceasefire without security guarantees, this is so sensitive for our people. I'm speaking like a president of a people who are in this struggle 3 years, and they just want to hear that America on our side and that America will stay with us, not with Russia, with us. That's it. But I'm sure that it will be. This is the first step to security guarantees. Europeans, we don't need to lose them. They are good allies for the United States. The United States is the most or the biggest donator of support and of peace. But we don't need to lose Europe, and they also want to know next steps. We have to be very open to understand how to stop the war.
Right. But do you think the public spat in the Oval Office in front of the media served Ukrainians well today?
I think this kind of spat is I mean, this we have. I mean, this is not good for both sides anyway, and I'm very open, but I can't, change our Ukrainian attitude to Russia, and I don't want they kill us for us. This is very, very clear that Americans are the best of our friends, Europeans are the best of our friends, and Putin with Russian, their enemies. And it doesn't mean that we don't want peace. We just want to recognize the reality, the real situation.
President Trump is convinced that you will never sign a deal with Vladimir Putin. Is he right?
No, I think so. What I think. Ukraine wants peace, and we will have anyway diplomacy. We will have negotiations. I only said that I think so. It's about just and lasting peace. It means that we have to be very strong at the table of negotiations, and at these negotiations, Ukraine and Russia, like sides of this war, have to be, and the United States and Europe. That's what I said. So we are ready for peace, but we have to be in strong position. What does it mean? Just to know that our army is strong, that our partners with us, and that we have security guarantees. Am I not right?
Leaving the White House today, President Trump said this.
He's looking to go on and fight. He wants to come back right now, but I can't do that.
What do you make of that? Do you want to continue fighting? Do you want peace? And if he had the opportunity to go back to the White House right now, would you do it?
No. First of all, we want peace. That's why I'm in the United States. That's why I visited President Trump. And thanks for invitation again. The deal on minerals is the first step to security guarantees. It's meant for the peace, closer to peace. That's why I'm here. And we have tough situation. To understand it is to be in Ukraine. You saw it, Brad. You was once. Thank you again. So I think that's very important to understand what's going on. But I respect my soldiers and our people, our civilians who work and support our warriors. I can't say just stop. Nobody will stop because everybody afraid that Putin will come back tomorrow. We want just and lasting peace. It's true. We want security guarantees. We raise this topic about NATO the quickest way, but not all the countries are on this side. I said, okay, if not NATO, nobody is pushing. If not NATO, let's build NATO in Ukraine. That's my position. Europeans are ready to have contingents on our territory, boots on the ground. United States thinks maybe to help, maybe USA backstop, have to be just to guarantee that they are with Europeans. Look at Europe, it's strong. It became stronger, but they also want to have allies like the United States. That's what I said. I just want to understand what the peace. It's not my question, Brad. That is the question from all our people.
You mentioned when I traveled to the front lines with you last year to see the situation, to mark the anniversary of the war, and this is what you told me back then.
Will Ukrainians survive without Congress support? Of course, but not all of us. It will be tragedy for all of us, not only for Ukraine, not only for Ukrainians, for all Europe. Yeah.
So the question today is, can Ukraine win this war or hold off Russia without continued U.S. support?
It will be difficult for us. That's why I'm here. That's why we speak about the future negotiations. It will be difficult without your support, but we can't lose our values, our people. We can't lose our freedom. So a lot of people, Russians came to our territory, you know it. Russians came to our houses, and everybody saw it, video, images, a lot of things. They killed so many people. Just to forget it, just to say that Putin is a great guy? No, without us. We don't want it. That's why we speak about, everybody remembered how it was the first days of the war, how they came. Nobody wants in Ukraine. Yes, of course, nobody will forget it, but nobody wants to have, again, new wave of occupation. That's why when we say, no NATO, what security guarantees can we have? I'm not pushing, we are not pressuring, we're just asking, we're just sharing very clear messages to our friends, to Americans.
Right.
If you stay with us, thank you so much, but let's do the infrastructure of security guarantees. Let's just share with our people, that America, stay with us. That's great. We count on it. But just to share it and to say it, that's all.
How does the war end? How do you get to a deal? You're at a place right now where there is no deal. How do you get it back on track?
I think that Europe is ready for contingents and to help us with financing of big army, such big as we have now. This is our army, is the part of security guarantees. Now we want to find the place for our biggest strategic partner, for the United States, or United States will propose where and how United States will give us security guarantees, what kind of and what part of volume of security guarantees. And when we will be ready with this, we will come to diplomacy. Yes, with Russians, Europeans, United States, and we, four of us. I think this is real way, because with weapon, it's too long, it's not enough. We don't have enough weapon to push them out, and we don't see now, we don't see really big volume of new support from the United States, but with all respect again. So for today, we'll be ready with security guarantee. Really, when I say NATO, it's not about that we are focusing on this word. It's about very understandable infrastructure of security guarantees. And you see that no NATO countries for today, no NATO countries been under attacks.
Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican from South Carolina, he has been a big proponent of you and of Ukraine, said this today after the meeting.
I have never been more proud of the president. I was very proud of J.D. Vance, standing up for our country. We want to be helpful. What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again. He either needs to resign and send somebody over that we can do business with, or he needs to change.
So he says you need to consider resigning. Is that on the table?
I don't know if he will be happy after my words. This decision can do only people of Ukraine.
You're not going to step down to do a peace deal.
No, I was always ready. I'm not sure that is a good idea for this such proposals. But anyway, I always said if United States will support NATO, so I think that it's enough for Ukraine. So I think I did all I had to do. And if somebody is not happy with me, okay. But between us, yes, Americans vote for American president. Each European country vote for their president, and only Ukraine. With all respect to Lindsey, if I can say Lindsey, we know each other, yes, and only Ukrainians.
Democrats have had
their president.
Democrats have had the opposite reaction to the Oval Office meeting. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut posted this. What just happened in the Oval Office was a planned ambush designed to help a brutal Russian dictator and hurt America's security. Trump has become Putin's lapdog, and America's global power is hemorrhaging as America sides with dictators over democracy.
I'm going to get out of this right now, because if there's one person I don't care to hear from is Chris Murphy from Connecticut, because he is embarrassed. Now, look, what you just heard there was an interview that Brett is doing, and I think he may have taped it a little bit earlier. Typically, these are not live interviews. That doesn't really matter. I just want to point out that it's airing right now. Zelensky was booted out of the White House earlier today, told to come back when he's ready to really talk about peace. Now, one of the things, and I'm going to play some of this audio here. Here's what we're going to do. I had, and this probably turned out better, even though I was bummed out. We had a guest cancellation. I like to take things in a little lighter direction in the 5 o'clock hour on Fridays, typically. And Jennifer Otter Bickerdike, who has written a great book, I started reading it, about the Bengals, was going to join us. But there were PR snafus, so she couldn't. But we have Senator Schmitt agreeing to kind of delay his appearance because of the interview that we just aired. And he's coming up here in probably about, I'd say 7 or 8 minutes. But let me play what happened today. Because, Sue, you still haven't heard a lot of this, right?
No, I've just heard what you've played so far.
It was unbelievable. I was hitting golf balls this morning. I came back into my house. I had the TV on already. I hadn't turned it off. And I see on the screen shouting match between Zelensky and Trump. I'm like, whoa. Fred texted me right then. He's like, are you watching this? So I turn up the volume, and it was pretty crazy.
And now I'm talking with my friends in Poland, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal? That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world.
Yeah, no
I'm
kidding.
aligned with the world. And I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred. And I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way, so that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
So quite honestly, this was the calmer part of this whole exchange. So they were taking questions, and then it went on.
Respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Let me tell you something. I've never seen, I don't think we've ever seen a vice president take control, and Trump wasn't threatened at all. He let JD do it.
Yep.
It was amazing. I mean, he got into Zelensky's grill.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you?
Today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
So, and I want to play one more exchange. We'll take a break. We'll come back with Senator Schmitt. In this one, he seems to listen to what he's saying here. He's basically saying, look, we're right next to Russia here, right? We have these NATO countries around us. You guys are lucky. You United States, even though we've given them $350 billion in aid and support here.
Geez.
You guys, you should be careful because this is going to come at you too. You have an ocean in between Russia and you, but you know what? It's going to come back to haunt you. Trump did not like to hear that.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on
position to
this question.
dictate that.
That's exactly
Remember
what
this.
you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very
you will
good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
What would you say if I told you that was still the calm part? We haven't even gotten to the hot stuff. I'm going to save that for audio cut of the day, but Senator Schmitt to react coming up next.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, we do have some Friday volume out there, but I've seen it worse. So not too bad for 523. Westbound 70, a little slow at Jennings Station Road and past the airport. 6440, it's Kings Highway out past McCausland and at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Eastbound slowing at Big Bend. And we look better on the approach to the Poplar Street Bridge, but if you're headed into Illinois, there is some moderate volume there. Westbound is still heavy and slow coming in from Illinois, partially due to the jam on westbound 44 in front of the Arch to just south of the Poplar Street Bridge. Southbound 55, slow pockets south of Arsenal, down through Revis Barracks. To the south, though, of there, we're okay. We actually look all right. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Okay, Senator Eric Schmitt to react to all of this coming up next.
Sponsored by Robert Half.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Farming's hard. To feed the world, farmers have to work the land, brave the elements, and fight the battle against weeds. Weeds reduce crop yields, so prices go up and everybody gets less to eat. But 50 years ago, farmers got a new tool to fight weeds, glyphosate. It kills weeds while protecting the harvest. Time and again, it has been approved by the EPA and by leading regulatory bodies around the world. It helps enable practices that reduce erosion and keep soil healthy, which is good for the earth. Farming's hard, but it's a little easier with glyphosate. Learn more at go.bayer.com/glyphosate, paid for by Bayer.
If you've tried and failed every ED treatment, there's another fix that could work for you. It's same-day surgery, it's minimally invasive, and is performed by South County urological physicians. Hundreds of men have come to us for this outpatient procedure that has a satisfaction rate of 90%. Interested? Call the dedicated ED phone line at South County Urological, 314-843-8000, extension 33. That's 314-843-8000, extension 33.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
And this portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air. The Mark Reardon Show fish fries are about to begin. Join me and the crew at Holy Trinity Fish Fest in St. Louis. Details at 971talk.com/events. It's Fish Fry Fridays on the Mark Reardon Show during Lent. Hope to see you March 7th. All right, well, I mentioned I had a guest cancellation, this book on the Bengals. I'm actually very excited to talk to Jennifer Otter Bickerdike, but she canceled, and it was probably best because of the day's events with Zelensky and Trump, and it's crazy. Now, I want to play some more of the audio for Audio Cut of the Day, but first we have Senator Schmitt on to react this afternoon. Eric, how are you?
I'm doing great, Mark. How are you doing?
Whoa. I mean, wow. Never seen anything like it. Maybe we'll never see anything like it again. JD did unbelievable in that meeting this morning, but what's your take?
I'm glad they're saying what the American people feel. The idea that Vladimir Zelensky can walk into the Oval Office and talk to the American people like that, it's just sort of this sense of entitlement is infuriating. He totally discredited himself today on the world stage. I'm glad we finally have a president and a vice president that thinks of America first, because what was working before, Mark, or what Joe Biden and Democrats and some others were doing before is they talked tough, but Russia still invaded Ukraine. It was an endless spigot of American taxpayer dollars that was never going to end for a war of attrition. President Trump actually wants to deliver peace. And they were pretty close to, getting much further down the road today. All he had to say, Zelensky had to say, was thank you. Thank you to the American people for sending your hard-earned tax dollars to us, and he couldn't do it. He had to litigate all that stuff in full view, and he deserves to get kicked out. He got kicked out of the White House. He should have been kicked out.
I think he should have been too. But what was fascinating, and I think everybody around the world knows, is that you never get to see stuff like this in front of cameras. And even President Trump mentions that because he said this is good TV. But look, they handed it to him in an appropriate way. Again, I thought that the vice president did very well. But what happens now with this? It's hard for me to believe that Zelensky is just going to cower and crawl back to the White House. Now, that's going to be bad news for him, but is there a scenario where peace is achieved here, in your opinion?
Well, the best case scenario for Zelensky at this point, who, by the way, failed his own people today, and the carnage will continue because of his ego, the best case scenario for Zelensky is that he can crawl back. I don't know if he can come back from it. I just talked to President Trump. I'm not going to reveal the nature or the specifics of that conversation. But what went on today is totally unacceptable. I mean, Vladimir Zelensky has no leverage. He has no cards. The only way this war ends is if the United States of America, and President Trump specifically, brokers the peace. And so to walk in there today and have that kind of attitude, it's insane. I mean, it'd be one thing if that happened behind closed doors, but he seemed more than willing to sort of argue with, the two people that got a mandate from the American people to end this thing. So.
Yeah, that was what was interesting. And look, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of layers to this, but one of them also is the message for other leaders around the planet, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, look, America's back in the sense that we all, and I've been talking about this pivot to American realism. We can't be everywhere all at once all the time. We're not the global cop on the beat. We have core strategic national interests, defend the homeland. China's our biggest threat. Europe has to step up. In fact, Mark, I went to Munich 2 weeks ago and was, one of the few senators that delivered the message to our European allies. You have to step up. We're not going to carry this burden alone all the time, and we have bigger fish to fry. If Russia is such an existential threat, then you need to step up. You need to have an industrial base. You need to have a military. We have subsidized their social welfare programs, Mark, for multiple generations now. We're not going to do it anymore. We don't have if you believe there's scarcity, and I do, we have to make decisions. And they've just gleefully kind of gone along with this and let the American taxpayer subsidize everything. That has to change. And I think President Trump is delivering that message. This is not – I think what Zelensky's used to is everybody telling him what he wants to hear all the time instead of telling him the truth.
Well,
I think we need truth tellers.
He got a real bent out of shape when the vice president, talked about diplomacy. And he seemingly kind of took that as an affront. So I was confused by that.
Yeah. I mean, look, what's the alternative? And I've been doing some of these CNN shows, and they kind of press you on it. What is the alternative here? Do people really believe that Ukraine is going to beat Russia in a war of attrition? Russia, This is sort of what they do. They have more men, they have more materials. Even if you could convince America or anyone else to provide more money to help Ukraine, they don't need percentage of GDP. They need munitions. And we don't have the industrial base, nor does Europe, to provide the munitions for them ultimately to win. So you're at a place right now where you would broker a peace. That's what President Trump wants to do. All Zelensky had to do today was sign that critical minerals deal and say thanks. But he couldn't do it. He's totally discredited himself. I don't know if he can deliver it anymore. I don't know that he'll be allowed back, but he's got a lot of work to do. But again, what's lost in all this drama on TV, Mark, is the Ukrainian people, the humanitarian aspect of his epic failure now was on full display, and more people are going to die as a result.
It's incredible. I don't know. I know you're a very busy United States Senator, but there's this really amazing documentary that's on Apple TV Plus. It's 6 parts about the Vietnam War, and it's just horrifying and harrowing. And you think about these kids and think about all these Russian kids and Ukrainian kids. They're 19, 18. There's hundreds of thousands of them. We don't even have a grasp on the death toll because there's no method that's reliable to detect that. It's just unbelievable. I can't still believe that we're in this war in this year, 2025, 3 years into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a meat grinder. I hate to say it. That's what it is right now. And so President Trump, again, look, none of this started when he was there because Putin respected Trump. Xi respects Trump. World leaders respect Trump. Iran was incredibly weak when Trump was president because when he says he's going to do something, he does it. As opposed to Joe Biden had the disastrous withdrawal, and I'm not going to relitigate all that from Afghanistan, but he sent a very clear message of weakness. And there are bad people in the world who will take advantage of that. And so we have a strong president today who's not going to take, nonsense from people, especially people who are who really their only hope to save the people of their country is for President Trump to deliver that peace. And he's willing to do it. But he just sort of snatched defeat from the jaws of victory today.
It's amazing. Senator Eric Schmitt is with us. Let's talk a little bit about Doge and spending, and the reaction on the left to Elon Musk is still unbelievable. It's he's in this. He's worth $500 billion, but he's in this all for his personal gain, Senator. You know that, right?
Right, of course. It's interesting. I'm part of the Doge caucus in the Senate, and we met with Elon Musk yesterday over at the White House, and there were, a dozen or more of us or so that were there. And it is, we've seen all the, the millions of dollars for Guatemalan sex changes and the millions of dollars for LGBTQIA Sesame Street in Iraq and the billions of dollars for DEI in Burma. But it goes much deeper than that. I mean, there are ghost accounts that are receiving hundreds of millions of dollars. There's twice as many government credit cards for government employees. It's a total mess. And thank goodness he's willing to take this on and others are willing to take this on. I think at the end of the day, Mark, we're going to look back and just wonder how this all happened. There's just no real accountability, and it's going to save taxpayers a bunch of money. So the Democrats, I think they've lost their bearings. They don't have a leader. They just got their butts whooped in November. They don't have a message. They're swinging at every pitch now. They
really are.
And effectively, they're the defenders of permanent Washington, the stuff that people hate, and they're defending all of it.
It really is something. And I guess maybe I was unrealistically expecting that maybe some of the legacy media would change their tune here. But the chattering class is all about what the 20% believes in, not what the 80% believes in. And I don't know if have you ever met, we probably talked about it, have you ever met my friend Scott Jennings before?
Yeah, you know what? I did, actually. So we were in the green room at CNN about a month ago, and we were talking. I didn't know he was such a huge Cardinals fan. So actually, we had a great conversation about the Cardinals in the green room. So I did meet him. We exchanged phone numbers.
Yeah, so he's got connections. Our mutual friend Joe Arnold down in Louisville, they used to work together at WHAS Radio, and I would go down for the Derby, and I got to know, Joe, and then I met Scott 8 years ago, and he's been on the show. But I bring him up because obviously he's been, and by the way, he's a Cardinals fan because Joe grew up in Belleville, and he listened to KMOX, so that was one of the reasons he's a huge Cardinals fan. So we always talk
baseball. And Scott he's from Western Kentucky. He was telling me too. That's Cardinal Nation. Yeah.
And by the way, since we're on the Jennings topic, before I move on to my broader point, there's rumblings now that he might run for Senate in Kentucky, and I checked with him on this last night, and I will say he has not ruled it out. So I think there's a possibility that he might get into that race. But I bring him up because he's on CNN the other night with this Toure guy who used to have a show on MSNBC. And I mean, some of the things, Senator, that they were saying, he even told me it was like, of all the moments on CNN, and there have been a lot, where people are saying stupid things, that one probably had to take the cake because this guy Toure and this other woman who worked with the Harris campaign seemed very confused that the president of the United States is actually the commander-in-chief of the military. They weren't that wasn't resonating with them.
I saw that exchange, and they were surprised, yes, that the president would put someone like a Secretary of Defense in place to, sort of run the Pentagon and be in charge of the military. I think that, the multi-decade attack on civics education has finally caught up to even people who show up on TV and don't understand basic functions of government. But look, I think the power of the Trump derangement syndrome is more significant than we probably thought. We thought, many of us, that the Democrats would take their medicine and learn from it. They can't do it. And I don't think they've hit rock bottom yet. I really don't. I think there's still a cycle or two away, a presidential cycle or two away of continuing to go down. We've got, for example, when we come back from the Senate next week, we're going to have a vote on keeping men out of women's sports. And I bet you most of those Democrats are going to vote against it, which is a kind of a good barometer of whether or not they've figured this thing out yet. It's like a 90-10 issue.
It's unbelievable. I can't believe, but let them do what they're doing. And then I think that the best story of the week, we got all kinds of crazy things happening, but the notion that Jake Tapper, Senator, is co-authoring a book. Alex Thompson, I'll give him a pass. He actually did some good reporting. But that Jake Tapper, the guy that called Laura Trump out and others for questioning for a moment that Joe Biden's cognitive decline was real, he's the co-author of a book on the very topic of Joe Biden's cognitive decline. You cannot make that S up, can you?
No, you can't. And it's still amazing. I actually can't believe it. I mean, because everybody was seeing it on TV. Remember, they had the term was it a cheap fake? Which was like, don't actually believe the actual footage of Joe Biden wandering around, that somehow that was discredited. I mean, they weren't disputing that it was real. They were just saying, oh, this is just, it's a cheap, They twisted themselves in knots, and it blew up. I mean, the whole thing, the American people watched all this stuff over 4 years, and they rendered their verdict. And by the way, part of what happened today was part of what the American people voted for. They wanted somebody who would stand up in that Oval Office and not get lectured to by Vladimir Zelensky when, he's not saying thank you for $200 billion that came his way, or the fact that the American people and through the President of the United States are going to bring peace to his country. I mean, it's crazy. It's totally crazy.
It really is. Well, Senator, great. Thank you so much for jumping on here this afternoon. I have one special request for you, because we do this great thing here, and we're starting next Friday, Fish Fry Fridays. We're going out on location to a bunch of different, VFW halls and churches. And I used to have this friend. He was in the state Senate here in Missouri named Eric Schmitt. I used to see him in person, and I wanted to put in a direct request for the senator from the state of Missouri to maybe visit us at a fish fry if you're in town. Would you at least consider that?
Yeah, I would. I love fish fries. I'm Catholic and born and raised here in St. Louis, so I visited many a fish fry in the St. Louis region. So let's try to make that work.
I'll have Fred get with Chris. We'll see if we can arrange it. Listen, have a great weekend. Thank you so much.
All right, Mark. Take care.
And I'm going to feature the full audio, not the full audio, it was 50 minutes, but the real fireworks and audio cut of the day with the Zelensky meeting this morning. It's coming up.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
That's it. I'm listening to the Bangles on my way home. All right, we've got westbound 6440 with a slow go, but it's just the usual. Kings Highway out past McCausland, some moderate volume at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Eastbound is slowing at Big Bend. And now we've got a report of an accident on eastbound 44 just past Hampton before you get to Sublette, and there is a jam behind it. Heavy traffic westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge at this hour. Eastbound is just moderate, and southbound 270 is in great shape. It's almost inexplicable. Northbound 270, a little moderate volume, headed for 70. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, as I take into the weekend here, I'm going to leave you with a message about Susan L. Ward, and it might be something that you have to think about, or maybe somebody else in your world, because this could be a message for, someone who has a friend going through a divorce or a situation like this, or maybe you just need help in the aftermath of divorce. We always point out that Susan L. Ward and her team can help you out with post-divorce modifications. I had to go through a couple of those back in the day. I've been not paying child support for a while, but I was even caught off guard. I didn't realize, this was just naivete and ignorance, that you have to have a court order to get the child support to stop being withdrawn from your check. So Susan and her team here in St. Louis with multiple locations, they can help you out with all of that. The website really is great. You can find out about the different topics and the specialty areas. You can learn a little bit about the team. You can contact them confidentially by using the form that they have. And you can also understand that Susan, and this is pretty cool, she's rated AV preeminent by an agency called Martindale-Hubbell. That's a peer rating that an attorney can receive, and it shows that a lawyer has reached the height of professional excellence. And Susan L. Ward has the distinction of being the youngest family law attorney in Missouri to get that AV rating. Check her out today if you need her help. It's a tough area of the law, but she can help you. I promise you that. STLFamilyLaw.com for Susan L. Ward.
I am the place that stole America's first Olympics. Many American cities put in bids to host the 1904 Olympics, and one sports-crazed city made much more sense than the others: Chicago. But when the World's Fair was delayed from 1903 to 1904, local leaders convinced the Olympic organizers to move the Games to St. Louis, capitalizing on the attendance and attention of millions of fairgoers. St. Louis is more fascinating than you realize, and the Missouri Historical Society is giving it a proper introduction.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Monday, a judge has stepped in again to try to stop President Trump from downsizing government. We'll talk to Hans von Spakovsky at 6:20.
The Mark Cox Morning Show. Weekdays from 5 to 9. Right here on 97.1 FM Talk. You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
So I'm very excited. I have a friend in town tonight, and this is her. Her name is Lizzie West.
You take that dusty turnaround, yellow brick road.
Oh, she's a wonderful singer-songwriter, and I lost touch with her, and I play her song, Family Christmas, every year. I played it this year when the station allowed me to spin some Christmas music, and we have reunited, and she's doing some work in Columbia, Missouri in the studio, so we're going to talk music tonight. She's going to meet Alexa. She knows Becky because we knew each other and we were friends many years ago, but that is a great song called Dusty Turnaround.
Wonderful.
But I have to get to this because this was really the big story of the, with Trump, you almost are tempted to say, well, nothing can get bigger than this, right?
Right.
But it certainly can, but this was pretty crazy, so let's get to it here.
Stand by. Playback ready.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
Okay, now one thing I want to make clear here is that this whole exchange that happened in the White House with Zelensky, J.D. Vance, the media there, and Trump, it was a 50-minute exchange. At first, it was not hot. It didn't get testy until well into it, and then, well, it got real testy.
Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have
And
problems.
do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
that.
You are not in the war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on
position to
this
dictate
question.
that.
That's exactly what
I'm not
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're going to feel very
you will
good.
feel influence.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and
of
he
the
happens
war.
to be right about
From
it.
the very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a good
Brown,
position.
I was
You don't have
saying-
the cards right now. With us, you start having
I'm not playing
cards.
cards.
Right now, you
I'm
don't
very
have to play
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives of
anymore.
millions of people.
You think
You're
you-
gambling with World War
What do
III.
you think
You're
about?
gambling with
What do you
World
think
War III. And
Wait.
what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to you,
Far
I'm
more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once?
A lot of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire
today.
meeting, you said thank
Even
you.
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can
not
speak.
speaking loudly. He's not
Yeah.
speaking loudly. Your country's
Can I-
in big
can I-
trouble.
can I
Wait a minute.
answer?
No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of
we are
coming out
staying-
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said thank
stupid
you.
president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about we are
If
speaking?
you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
Again,
I tell you.
just say thank you.
I said a lot of times thank you to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't please,
you're running
Mr.
low
President.
on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, If you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you'd take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire?
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
it doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what
That wasn't
is
with me.
It
That was with
wasn't
a guy named Biden who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your,
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make, because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do we do then? I understand that.
There's reporters in the room when all this is happening, and they were asking questions.
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
Well, what if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if he can make a deal. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think?
What's this negotiation?
Yeah, so, look, the whole thing went on 50 minutes. Afterwards, they basically kicked him out, and they said, come back when you want to talk peace. They were supposed to hold... See, that wasn't even the joint news conference. That was just in the Oval Office after the meeting talking about, the issues. I'm not actually sure if they did that before they were supposed to go into closed-door meetings, but there was nothing like that after that. So then afterwards, one of the things that you heard in the audio there is J.D. Vance in particular pressing Zelensky to say, hey, let's just talk about the math here. $350 billion. He's acting as if in that particular exchange, as we have not bent over backward to help his country resist Putin and the Russians, while we have our own issues in this country to begin with.
Yep.
So he acts like he's entitled. He goes in there, and then afterwards he goes on X and says, thank you, America. Thank you for your support. Thank you for this visit. If the goal here on the part of the people who don't want the country to be isolationists was to move us in a different direction, well, that kind of failed, because most normal people who are just kind of following this and don't know everything about geopolitics and, what's at stake here and how the NATO influence is important and how Zelensky's a grifter anyway, but it doesn't really look good for him.
No.
I think it's a terrible look. And even, I had some folks, I like this guy, Konstantin Kisin, who is a Russian. I've aired his audio before, Sue, and you've always liked it. He gave a speech at the Oxford Union a couple years ago on some of the issues related to woke nonsense that was incredible. And he had some reactions earlier that were not super positive about Trump in particular, but then he said, look, I watched the entire 53-minute press conference. It's painful, but I take back what I said earlier. Zelensky decided to attack Vance unnecessarily. He totally messed this up. Yes, Vance played into the gallery afterwards, but he was also correct. Litigating this stuff in front of the media was really dumb, really poor from Zelensky. I hope he can see sense, apologize, and get a deal for his country. This was not smart. I think that basically, and for those of you who want to watch the whole thing, it's up there online. You can watch it. 50 minutes. It was pretty crazy. Now, I want to get to one more thing. And part of this is a little serious. And I spoke with Scott Jennings yesterday. He's become a national treasure, as I've called him. He's on CNN. I can barely go to one of my outlets and not see his name. He's now being mentioned as a potential candidate for the United States Senate. I mentioned that with Senator Schmitt.
That's interesting.
And when I asked him about this morning, it seemed like he might consider that. But listen to this. You know, he's being talked about everywhere, including Joe Rogan's podcast with Elon.
Jennings on CNN is good.
Yeah.
He's like,
oh, my God. He's great.
He's great.
It's
like
just funny watching him
logic
speak
and reason.
logically to these people, and they freak out.
It's remarkable.
It is. And he's so calm when he does it.
Yeah.
He's so good. And it's crazy that they keep letting him do it because it's like he's just dunking on these people over and over and over again, and they never score. It's kind of funny.
Totally.
I mean, kudos to them for having a legitimate conservative voice who's a reasonable person on these panels now. But even then, he's outmanned. It's like one of him, and there's a bunch of screechy, woke people. And it's wild.
So
that's amazing.
That's an interesting clip. You know where I found that clip today?
No.
Scott Jennings sent it to me. I'm telling you, his ego. Joe Arnold and I, our mutual friend in Louisville, we're going to have an intervention with Mr. Jennings, but I'm proud of him. He's doing great work.
That's fantastic.
And I'm glad that he's being talked about because he's really been heroic on CNN. The problem is nobody's watching. Hey, here's my friend Lizzie West. I'm going to have dinner with her tonight. We'll talk on Monday.
Just remember, man, there is no place like home. You take that dusty turnaround, yellow brick road. Just remember, man, there is no place like home. You take that dusty turnaround.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
We've got an accident westbound 44 downtown past Broadway. The left lane is blocked and traffic is stacked up behind it. We've got heavy volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. Illinois drivers coming in for a Friday night. And we've got eastbound 44. There was an accident just east of Hampton, and that's caused a delay. Westbound 6440 is slow go. Kings Highway out past McCausland. Eastbound slowing at the inner belt. And out west, 70 is in pretty good shape. 6440 a slow pocket or two approaching Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through the 70 split. And 55 slowing still right there at Revis Barracks, kind of at the southern end of the work zone. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not